2, 1. And there we go. Now we've got to sync.
Sick.
So, episode 2, Harping On.
Hello there.
Lovely stuff. We're joined by the great Shaquille Howe there. I was going to say Shaquille O'Howe. I don't know what that was. It's like a mixture of Shaquille O'Neal and Shaquille Howe.
Yeah.
What's up, man? Thanks for coming today. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Josh is here as well, again.
I'm here again.
He's here
Hello,
again.
Thanks for having me.
He won't be here next time. Yeah, I'll come to your house and be like, Josh, get out.
Yeah, I thought that was going to happen today. When you said, I'm going to get Shaq on the next one, can I come to yours on Tuesday? I thought, like, am I just going to be sat behind the camera? Like, this is great.
That was actually my first thought. I was like, I could work, as of Josh, in this room, doing whatever. And then I was me and Shaq having a conversation. I was like, I'd be a bit rude, wouldn't it?
I'd be getting podcast cucked. My own house.
Yeah.
I have to sit behind the camera and just watch and enjoy it.
Yeah. It was so bad.
That'd be quite funny.
Yeah.
Should be all good. Yesterday was fun, wasn't it?
Yesterday was excellent.
It was good.
Yesterday was excellent.
It's good to be funny and loud back into recording studios.
Yeah, man.
Say
Like,
loud.
it is, well.
Yeah, we were loud.
We were, you're right.
It was fine.
It's one of those things, man.
They had it back. They had it back under the public. It doesn't matter, does it?
Exactly. We didn't get it.
Yeah.
I got a really weird message from Pirate. It was like, "Oh, thanks for having you back." And I was like, "But it wasn't like a regular like Pirate automated text. It was like
From Dylan, the pirate
it
studio.
literally wasn't even from Dylan. It was like Pirate, and it was like, "Hope you had an awesome session, Shaq. Great to have you back, Pirate X." And I was like, "What the hell?" I was like,
What?
Why didn't you text
Who's
me?
doing this?
Hello. Slide.
It was like,
yeah.
Slide into your DM.
But hey,
Can you start a little conversation with them?
saw you on the camera there. You're looking real good.
So, all four of you?
It's like, oh man,
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, you guys, you're amazing, Shay. You can play all four
It's
instruments at the
crazy,
same
man.
time.
it's crazy how you're also a white guy as well. It's crazy.
You're
two white guys.
Two white guys, a black guy, and a
A kind of Asian.
kind of. We don't really know. He doesn't really know. No one knows.
Yeah, no one knows.
No, I don't know.
No one knows.
It was all cool. No, it was really good. That was it was refreshing as well to go from 3 months. Well, part like the first month we didn't have a choice. We chose not to do anything, and then the next 3 was lockdown, so we're not allowed to actually do anything. But it was awesome to actually see that it worked really well. We all came out with something different.
Man. I said it yesterday, but I'll say it again for the podcast. But one thing that I thought was awesome is that we were able to kind of move through so many musical styles. And none of it seemed like it was not something that we should do. Like, it'll be weird to see the 1975 do like a trap song, or like it'd be weird to see John Mayer do like metal. Like, it'd be strange.
Would quite cool.
Be sick, but it would be strange. But I think that's what we're trying to do. That's what my aim was with Love Less entirely, is to be this kind of trans musical entity that isn't bound by the idea of genre.
Yeah.
I think for me that's done. I don't see the point anymore in music that sticks to genres. And again, the fans will love what you make. Like Frank Ocean was talking about. Like, Frank Ocean is really a person I find is like quite trans, genre. Word?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, he
yeah.
can move from doing kind of more R&B stuff to kind of really like indie pop. Like, it's really interesting, man. It's really interesting. It's like, I think we should always, as humans, explore breadths of what we can do. Some of the best guitarists I know for like that could play indie are like heavy metal players. Like, it's crazy. Crazy shit.
It was interesting yesterday because I thought like we all. Like I said to you, Matt, didn't I? That was like before in Handstand Parade. It was almost like we had our musical roles. Like, Matt was the drummer, Shaq was the singer, I played guitar, Andy was the bass player, did some keys as well. And if anyone stepped outside of that, it was almost a little bit like, what do you think you're doing?
Yeah, you feel like you can't take in a role that isn't yours.
Yeah, whereas yesterday, like, I don't know, it was weird. I don't know if it's just because we've all spent so long with our instruments in the lockdown, but I just felt so comfortable with everyone doing whatever they wanted to do.
100%.
Like, yeah, like,
The idea
and
of
you bringing a guitar, like, I feel like if he did that in Handstand Parade, I'd have been like, the fuck, man.
Yeah.
Whereas when he turned it with yesterday, it was like, sick.
This is
like,
awesome.
This is going to be a new sound or something new for us to explore.
It was cool. I mean, and even like the point where we just like, 'cause I knew you hadn't had to go on the SBD yet. I'm like, you ever go, and I'll do keys, and you're like, I'm rubbish with drumming. It's like, doesn't matter. Just
make sounds, innit?
yeah, and we did. It sounded sick. It sounded cool. Whereas like when Andy
sounds.
gave me his bass, I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but
100%. You actually got
just a noise.
able to, like, a lot of people when they pick up like a bass, like for me, when I first picked up a bass, I was like, whoa, what is this? Like, it is a strange instrument, but you're able to, because I guess it's more rhythmically, like, musically in tune with drums, isn't it? Really, like, it's more rhythm based than. That's why I like playing Want More when Cam left. playing Want More was such a struggle for me because I was singing this melody that was entirely like part of the kind of lead section, and then this bass bit which was entirely like rhythmic, and it was like really like every time I missed a note, it was because I wasn't keeping in time with you. So it was really, really hard to kind of do that. But yeah, man, it kind of.
Well, it's like I was saying to Josh before I tried it. I was like, that's how Mark King did it, because Mark King was a drummer first, and then he went, oh, let's try this instrument, and found bass. I was like, sick, and then level 42. There you go.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and he's one of the greatest bass players of all time, because it's just insane.
But it's like we said last week, like music's you kind of get stuck in your approach, because I found moving to drums at first quite difficult.
Yeah.
And still now, like I do, I've only been playing for like 2 weeks, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, how long you've had it? I'm not sure how long you've had it. Yeah,
like 2 weeks maybe. And yeah, it's like, because you pointed out, I didn't even think about it till you pointed it out, but I've come from a background of like melody and harmony, and there's rhythm obviously in there because you have to be able to play in time. But like, it's it's not, you're not keeping time. You're not keeping 3 or 4 other musicians in time. Whereas with drums, your purpose is
backbone.
Yeah, you have to keep the band in time.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, it definitely is like on how like you're definitely held back by your initial approach, because like you said, if you went into drums first, you probably pick it up a lot quicker. Whereas if you're going from drums to something else, again, you're thinking like timing. Whereas actually sometimes you kind of don't necessarily need that if you're jamming over the top. Again, you need to stay in time, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. It was just different. And I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, like with the SPD and with what you were doing, it didn't matter that you'd only been doing it for a couple of weeks. You had basic like understanding of timing and what to hit and how. It still sounded fucking sick. 100%. It sounded so good because in this case it's not a limitation because of what we were doing, because experimenting. It was because we kept it simple, and it was just, even if it was halftime beats, straight beats, 4 beats, whatever, we kept it simple. So then it just sounded proper tight. Yeah. Because you get like the Rush or like the Neil Peart kind of style for drumming, where he just plays every note possible, and you're like, it doesn't sound good. Technically, it's really good, but it doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it's true. I think like for me, music's all about effectiveness. So it doesn't matter how quickly you play, how skilled you are in terms of your how technical you are up and down the fretboard or whatever. Yeah. It's effectiveness. Like you literally, like for me, I want to achieve the spine chilling. Like, oh, that's so satisfying to listen to. Yeah. To me, like, I'm sure there's a song out there that exists, but to me, I've never heard someone like fucking going mental, like showing
shredding,
like how fast I am on the fucking neck. I'm so good. I've never been like, oh, that's great. I've just been like,
okay,
cool.
Yeah, it's like impressive. It's really impressive, but like, I would rather see someone play within a pocket rather than like shred everywhere and dominate the song. Yeah, it's a thing, man. I think like it's that idea I was talking to you about, like, about that Radiohead song, Everything in Its Right Place. I was been really like enthralled with it because nothing dominates over everything else. Like but the whole piece becomes dominant because of the characters that it is. It's such an interesting entrance to an album, like to just kind of come in and just smash like the sounds of a synth, and then the drums come in and they hit hard, and then the vocals and the kind of glitchy sound, and it just throws you off entirely. They kind of really mess with the timing, so you're not in the place where you're comfortable with. I find that more appealing to me than someone just absolutely shredding like for a minute in a solo of a song, and then goes back to what they were playing before. Like for me, I'm just like, why did you feel like you needed to do that? Like, you're a good band together and you should be a good band together. You know what I'm saying? Like I would never, it's like one thing I loved about being Handstand Parade is that if Josh had a solo, you know, or Matt wanted to do a bit of a fill, that fill was never out of place in terms of what we were doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we were always working together to make this musical thing. It's like four brains go into this kind of mixer, and then it comes out as one thing. Whereas I feel like a lot of players don't get that, and they think, oh, it's my time to shine now when I do my solo.
Flexing their musical skills.
It should never be about that. It should be about how you and your compadres. That was a weird word to use. You and your compadres.
Your culture, Shaq. It's cool.
But like, it should be about how you guys all come together to make this big musical union. You know. Yeah. For me, what it strikes you is that I find it really quite selfish. Like,
massively.
It makes me emotional. It actually gives me an emotional reaction. Like, we've played with bands sometimes where. Again, I don't want to disparage anyone, so I won't.
So we're not naming any names. It's fine.
But there's been some bands we've played with where they've come in late, come in halfway through a set or something like that. They don't really care about other people. They get on stage, they shred You know, they play a song. It's a great song, great song, and then it gets to the point where the person, normally the lead guitarist, comes along and then he decides to start shredding over everything and everything like that just to flex. And he's kind of got this kind of old school kind of rock and roll attitude. Yeah. And it's like, you can play. I will never take that away from you. You can really play. But was that what you did just there, what the song called for?
Exactly.
Was that what it was needed? Could you have got away with playing less notes with more feel? Like, why did you do that? And for me, like, it's like the drummer could have taken that time. The bassist could have taken that time. You know, you could have shifted your dynamics a little bit so that other people weren't lost in what you were doing, but it was just about you. There's only so much of a solo you can clap to. Do you know what I'm saying? In the first few, like 5 seconds, people go, "Whoa, this is amazing! It's great." Yeah. If it's going on for a minute, you need to reevaluate why that was more important than the message that the singer was playing, or that was more important than the rhythm of what the drummer was doing.
What's the longest solo we've had? That's been like 15, 20 seconds, something like that.
I think Pushing Up Daisies probably, wasn't it?
Yeah, what was that, Josh?
I don't know how long it was, but
because it was 8 bars, I want to say.
Maybe I think it's 16.
Yeah, I thought it was
16?
16.
Okay.
16.
Okay, so 20, 30 seconds, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But even with that solo, like the difference between, because I'm not against soloing. I think soloing's a really good expressive thing, especially for guitarists and leads and lead like synth players. But like your solo in Pushing Up Daisies is very, very different to a shred solo. It doesn't dominate the sound. It kind of interweaves with what I was doing and interweaves with what Andy was doing. It's kind of counterintuitive. It's really, I find I play it now because I think it's such a great solo. Like, if I was able to teach music, I would teach music in that style of working towards a final product rather than working towards, okay, I'm Johnny Flames, I'm going to play this solo and be known as a guitar god because of XYZ, but that's cool. But John Mayer doesn't really play like that. The actual greats of guitar, Nile Rodgers, John Mayer, you know, Tosin Abasi for me. Even Tosin Abasi plays an instrumental band but doesn't shred like that. Doesn't dominate the song over Javier. He doesn't do that. He plays where the song is, and there's no singing in it. So there's no singing in Animals as Leaders. So when he plays music that the guitar, when he's doing a solo, it takes the place of the vocal. It takes the place of XYZ. So it makes sense. Those great guitar players don't play like that. They're not selfish with their time. They understand that sometimes it's better to have on a slow jam like Gravity. It's best to have that boom, ba-doom, ba-boom. It's really better to have that kind of break rather than have that just. It's great to have that space, you know.
Yeah, I think like I always think it's a skill in itself to be able to hold that back and go like, what does the song need, or like what is this as a whole, sort of thing. Like, because you're right. Like, I always find at gigs, right, you've always got like a solid mix in the room. You've got the other bands, the other musicians, and then you've got like just the people that are coming to be entertained.
Yep.
All right, and obviously you need that mix, and you always find that when you've got like fucking Shredder McGee on stage, all the people that are just there to be entertained or there to watch, they come up to you afterwards and go, "God, that guitar is shit hot, isn't he?" And you're like, "Yeah." But then, like, when that guitarist starts shredding, you can almost feel all the musicians in the room
switch off. Yeah. Here we go.
And it's like, you know, when you're at a gig, right? We'll know this, and again, not naming any names, and we're not saying this happens a lot, but everyone's been to a gig where it happens.
Yep.
Where you just sort of go, okay, now it's time for me to fake enjoy this.
Yeah.
Because like it doesn't happen a lot, but I think sometimes you are just stood there like, what the fuck am I watching? Like,
100%.
what is the point?
And you know who's a great band? We'll name this name. A great band who I've never ever seen do that and really work towards a song is our friends in Third Lung.
Yeah, they
really work towards a song, and even if when there is a solo, that solo is balanced and perfectly it fits right in the moment. You know, and even Tom. Everyone needs to check out Third Lung. Yeah. Tom's voice is
insane.
It's
otherworldly.
It's ungodly what it is.
Because I find as well with because the soloing aspect of it, like that kind of flexing thing, doesn't always. It's not always kind of resigned to the lead guitarist. It can be. I've seen it happen with like a lot of singers as well. Being a singer myself, is like I know what I can do. I know what I can kind of work with my voice. I know what I can't do as well. So when I see someone who is just, they can do all the notes, they can do everything like that. I'm like, okay, cool, that's great, and it's amazing you can do that. But Freddie Mercury didn't really do that.
Yeah.
You know, Prince didn't really do that. MJ didn't really do that. The song called for what it called for, and then it was there.
Yeah.
You know. and Tom is a really good aspect because his voice, I don't even know how many octaves his voice can hit, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but he
It's
doesn't
big range.
need to flex that whole range.
No.
He's not singing at the top.
He's not
No,
singing
he's
at the
not.
top
He's
to
not. But
do that,
he
just to do
kind of
it.
he kind of teases the crowd with what he
That's what
can
I'm
do,
saying.
and you're like, what? But again, he doesn't go as high as he
But
can because he's
when-
not in a bloody opera. So
Well, when someone's really pushing it, right, or someone like, it's just like you said, fucking shredding like mad, like you're not really saving like the best till last sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like you're not really making anything special because like you're literally going to like 100 straight away.
Yeah,
And then
yes,
there's nowhere to go from there.
100%. They're not thinking about the show, and that's what I
Mhm.
really want to work
Yeah.
with our next project. With is just the idea of that people come. Sometimes they pay £5, sometimes it's free. Yeah, at our level, most of the time it's free actually.
Yeah, like, literally all the time.
But
yeah,
like
yeah.
a lot of what we see, I think the next step in innovation for kind of bands that are kind of our kind of area and kind of our kind of size, kind of just starting out, getting our feet, but kind of having an understanding of what their sound is.
Mm.
I think the next step is that understanding that people have paid to come and see you,
Yeah.
and they've paid for a show. So the better show you put on is the more they speak out about you, and the more they kind of say, okay, cool, they put on an amazing show. I should bring my friends to see it because I know John may really like this, or Jade may really like this, you know. And that's how I think we'll begin to build like a fan base and a following. But
Was where it's like, I mean, you eloquently described that entire problem that is in the music industry, starting from visuals and even from like the issues even we had for for X amount of time. As a whole, we've all got to remember that it's not about us; it's about the
Yes,
audience. So,
100%.
for when you're creating a song, you want to make it something that people are going to like. Then, even more so when you're on stage, because as you say, even if it's like Turtle we played before, even if people haven't paid to see you, they're still spending money, so they're still going to spend money at the venue.
100%.
So they still want value for it.
Yeah.
So it's the kind of thing where you need to put on everything that you can and show them everything that you've got to begin with, knowing you're not going to get paid. To then they'll go, okay, I want to invest in
I
this.
want to invest in exactly because they see something, they go, okay, cool. This band comes in.
Yeah.
It's like a band like Friendly Fires. Like Friendly Fires come in, they put a show on, an absolute show.
A bloody
They
incredible
don't.
one.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's
Oh,
exactly
yeah,
what you said.
He,
Like, they don't.
he just goes in. He's
Goes so
funny,
amazing.
he's
They're
so
amazing
funny.
to see. Like it's from the first beat to the last beat. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But as you were saying with the shredding stuff as well, even when they start to kind of get a bit more solo-y it's towards the end of the show where they're giving it all.
Yes.
You come off stage, like you have that feeling when they come off stage that you've lost something.
Yeah.
Something has stopped, and you're like, okay, I kind of need
As
to
in
get that
because
again.
it's finished. You're like,
exactly.
yeah.
People wanting more. Basically.
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. And
Yeah,
like,
if we're
it's like you
starving,
say,
yeah.
you have a duty to the audience.
Yes.
You have a duty to the venue.
Yes.
And that both those things, the better you fulfill those duties to the audience and the venue, it's the more likely you're going to be able to get. From my perspective, is the more likely you can be able to get paid gigs. The more likely people can be able to really vibe with what you're doing as well. You know, I think that's just important.
Well,
man.
this is why I love the Dirt on Netflix, because I knew Motley Crue beforehand, but I had no idea the impact they've had on music until I watched that. And it's like they're even them just dicking around, and they were like, yeah, we got like fire on stage, and we had fire with pyrotechnics, we had cartwheels, fireworks
So
going off,
sick.
and like they play like a pub. They're like, we don't care. We treated every single venue like
Like
it
a
was a
stadium
stadium.
show, yeah.
Every single venue was a
Yeah.
stadium show, and it's just like,
It's a great idea.
wow. But that's how they toured the world at 17 years old,
Yeah, it's cool.
and you're like, that's mental.
We were just saying, like, obviously, a lot of people don't pay for our gigs, but nowadays, time is money. Like, people's time is money. So I almost feel like, I mean, we all do it. Like, if you're sat at home and someone's like, "Oh yeah, come out, like, come to this thing, or come see
Yeah,
this
you're like,
band," and you're thinking like, I might do, but also like, I've got that game downloaded, I want to play.
Yeah, if you don't know a band, you're like, nah.
Yeah.
They got anything online, and then you find it, and then
Yeah.
you're like, okay, maybe.
So
You have to
time really is money nowadays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to really sell it. You have to really give them. It's like, I don't know why we thought when we were Handstand Parade that it would be different for us, because our show was okay, but it wasn't. I would say our show was okay. I really liked a lot of our music. I don't think we had it all evolved as musicians as we should be, as to the stage we were. So I think there was a lot of limitations on what we were able to do musically. But I feel like our show was good. I feel like our show was okay. But I don't think it was a situation where people would go home and go, well, a lot of people, compared to what I know we can do now, I don't think it's close to what we can do. And I don't know. I think it was that naivety of thinking we can do this song. It's gonna get on the radio. Then Radio 1 are gonna pick it up, and then it's like, and then it's all,
and then it's smooth sailing.
It's smooth sailing from
Yeah.
there, you know.
Well, we were guilty of the sin of assuming that just because we put effort into it, it somehow had value.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Even if yes, I mean, like, yeah, some of our songs at the time were like, yeah, cool, and then afterwards we're like, why did we do this?
Yeah.
And like, why do we record this? We're like, what is the point?
And towards the end, like, I think it took a little while to get that, like, oh fuck, why like this song again. And towards the end of like Handstand Parade, we'd almost write a song and be like, banging, that's a song. And then we'd perform it twice and be like, fuck man, I can't be bothered to do that song.
Yeah.
Please cut that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things, man. Like, we need to. It was one of those things for me that, just looking back on it, is when we were at our mine house and we were kind of like, what are we doing? I think that was a big part of it. Was that I would have loved to be that band, you know, like Seagulls, like Only the Poets, you know, Larkins, to just have those songs that just really resonate with those people, and people start coming to your show. There's a really big kind of thing, and it kind of picks up from there. I would love for that to have happened for us as Handstand Parade, but for me, I'm kind of glad that it didn't, because I really want to do it in a different way to all of our peers. You know, I really want to do it in a different way. And again, no disrespect to them, because I think all the bands that kind of up and coming right now, I think no matter what music you make, I think you intrinsically have a value. But the way I want to do,
but yeah, everyone has value. Just there's some are more valuable than others.
Yeah. I would say that some things I wouldn't say valuable. I would say they resonate for more people. I'd say that something in your brain that hit you at the right point in time. Like, you heard a Larkin song, the sun was coming down, and then the song broke, and you're like, oh my god, that really, for some reason, that really resonated with me. And I think that Handstand Parade's music, I don't think we had enough musical knowledge to tap into that.
Yeah,
I think we can because I think there's a really big difference between making making good music, making, like, technically, like, it has bars, it has verse, chorus, you know, it has lyrics, it's a song.
Yeah.
And then writing a song, an amazing, like, a song that resonates with people, a song that really hits someone's heartstrings, for that weird, bizarre, monkey brain human thing that allows us to go, I like that sound.
Yeah.
You know, I like that thing. I think, yeah, man, I think that there's, that certain music resonates with certain people. And I think we wrote catchy songs as Handstand Parade, songs that you could sing back to us, like Poolside. I know Lily loves that. I love watching Lily sing it back to us at shows and stuff. I love it. You know, I love watching people, like, come and sing that song, and, you know, Caleb, like, coming down all the time singing that with us. Like, it's so sick. But I want to make a song that they listen to in their spare time and go, oh my god, like, I felt that, or that reminds me of me. That hit,
soundtrack to your life, sort of.
That hits, exactly. Yeah. Soundtracks to your life. That is exactly what it is. Soundtracks to your life. Yeah, 100%.
You know what? Like, I personally only listen to bands or music that makes me feel that way. That's why I'm so particular. Like, people always have, like, not have a go at me, but they always say, like, yeah, you play that song all the time, you listen to this band all the time. And you guys know me really well. You know that I go through, like, phases with bands.
Yeah, you do.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
obsessed for like a year. And the thing is, like, I tend to find that I don't, unless the band or the artist does something that I'm just like, what the fuck are they doing? Then I tend to still like that band, and they stay in, like, the playlists, but then something will kind of come in. So where I might have had, like, you know, like 20 of their songs on a playlist, it'll maybe reduce to like 10, then 5, then like 3. And then maybe it'll come back. But yeah, I tend to only listen to bands that like actually make me feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, they feel like they're written, you know, to sound a bit vain, feel like they're written about me or for me by somebody else.
Yeah.
Because you listen to them and you go, oh shit, like, it's not just me. Like,
yes,
somebody else feels
that's
it,
the
somebody
feeling.
gets it.
Yeah.
It's a feeling, like, it's that feeling of kind of saying that, like, I'm putting this out in the world with the hope that someone will feel the same.
Yeah.
There's a kindred spirit on the other side of the island. You know, there's someone else out there that feels exactly the same way as me, and this hits them the same way it hit me for that way. And I feel like with Handstand Parade, we were making songs. There was a point where, like, some songs, like Pushing Up Daisies, I think that's our best song we ever wrote as Handstand Parade.
My thinking is, I'm gonna say one more, just based on crowd reaction.
Yeah, the vibe is fire.
It's because it's the vibe you can get. You can just fall into it, lose yourself into it, and it's so damn simple.
Yeah, it's space. It has space.
So tight.
Let me throw one into the mix here. Right? So I think
I'm gonna get shot down wherever you say.
if people, I think this one was hard to find. When people found it, it became their instant favourite. Morning Youth.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
live.
yeah.
I agree. We'd always have a.
I know a lot of people that
I think
like to
yeah,
record it.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're literally like
people that like they
this
bang
bangs.
it every day.
People were just like, "Oh, I love this one in the middle" when they go see you, and you're like, "Really?"
Yeah,
And I'm
but
like,
we
okay.
always used to get that.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
if
okay,
we ever
instant
played
recording
Morning
one.
Youth, people would be like, because that song started as an interlude.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
No lyrics, nothing.
know.
It was just a big musical build-up.
Well, even with or without lyrics, it
It
still
makes it-
sounds
yeah.
awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that, it's funny how like it started as like we were literally like,
It was just
Let's put
it was just an expression of feeling that was in the moment. That was it.
It was, wasn't it?
It was. There was no agenda.
you wrote
We
it in the studio, right?
were in my living room.
I was in your living room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
was.
did.
It was the second arrangement. So I'd had it where I put the drum kit behind the TV. I had you in front of me over here, and Shaq was over there. So I remember that they placed me for it was just the three of us, and I can't remember. I think you started doing the guitar bit to it, and then I remember just locking in with it, and then just layering over the top of it, and we just kept building until we just went
Yeah.
bang
Yeah.
and just destroyed it. And the original one we ever did, the first take was like 30 minutes long because the
Yeah,
build
it
up
was,
That's
yeah.
always how
because the
we
build up
fucking
was
do it.
so long because it was just an entire emotive thing because it was just the emotion we all caught up in at the time.
It was quite an emotional time actually. So I think,
Hmm.
because how old were we then? We must have been like just finishing school.
17.
Because we didn't start practicing properly until we finished school.
Yeah.
So
Ah.
17,
Yeah. We weren't like a proper band until like
17,
We
18.
just
17,
practiced
18.
before school concerts.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Ah.
literally.
fucked it off.
I don't actually ever. I don't think we. I
don't think
I
we
wasn't
actually
part of
did.
it during school. I wasn't.
Oh, yeah, it was,
You
was
and
you and
you
you
and you were
met in,
definitely.
like-
and then
yeah.
me for like one performance.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then I wasn't
So
part. I
weird,
wasn't part of
And
the
then we
Raiders.
were like, yeah, that Matt guy.
He's alright, mate.
Nah.
I was just gonna ask you guys to sort of think about obviously as we're a different or you under a different name. What was one of your? Because I know within the last couple of years we sort of travelled a bit more. We did a few things. Obviously, regardless of the value of it, it was fun. What was for you guys was to be sort of the best memory we did when we went outside of Reading as a band?
Sheffield for the first time.
Sheffield's a good one.
Sheffield, shout out
West
to
Street
Matt
Live?
Hume.
Yeah, the first
Yeah,
time we did it. Yeah. Oh yeah, because Matt was actually there. Yeah,
Banging,
yeah,
so
that was fun.
banging. Like you got to shout out Matt Hume, man. He's such an absolute character. Any bands who listen to this, and anyone who's listened to this likes a good night out.
Anyone even near Sheffield.
Anyone near Sheffield, just go to West Street Live. It's banging. Cheap drinks. One of the best. You know what? Not even one of the best. The best host.
Yeah,
you've
I've
ever
ever seen.
had.
Yeah, he's sick.
An absolute
He was
legend.
sick. The sound guy was safe as well.
Sound guy's amazing.
Yeah, he was quality.
Yeah.
You know, absolute, and they're lovely, lovely people up there. We met some amazing people up there. You know, you got to shout out to all of
The
those
North
people.
is
over there.
lovely. People would, people are very kind in the North. People
Yeah.
are very talkative.
So good. They were so accepting of like 4 lads in a van.
Like,
just
we
so
were not
accepting.
like, so
Yeah.
we're playing here tonight.
Yeah,
And
it's-
do you know, right? Here's the difference, right? I noticed the
Twice that
difference.
happened as well.
So I think it was the second time we played West Street Live. We rolled up, and I think we unloaded, sound to everything, and we just went for like a walk. I think.
Yeah.
We went for a walk. Maybe we went to get food. I can't remember.
Yeah, we
Basically-
went for a one day. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went out of the venue, and then me and Matt walked up to the door. I think it was me and you, and bouncer was on the door, and he was like, "I need your IDs, please, lads." And I was like, "Oh, mate, it's inside. I'm really sorry. Can I go and get it?" And he was like, "Wait, are you in the band?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Ah." And he's like, wait, I said, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." In the south.
Yeah, it's never happened.
Fucking not happening.
No,
Never happened.
They were- what do you mean it's inside? You're
someone next to you would have to go and get it and
Yeah.
bring it back out for you.
I
Yeah.
got ID'd like going back into. I literally was like unloading the car in a venue in Reading. I live here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know me in this bar.
Yeah.
They actually know my face. I
bound to
know.
help you load in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
joke. No joke.
We were loading out. I left my guitar in. Yeah, one of the most important instruments in the world to me. Yeah, and then I was like trying to get back in, and I was like, can I see your ID? And I was like, no. I wasn't like, no. I was like, I don't have it on me right now. Like, I literally, we were the last band on. I've literally just got off stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
You must have heard or seen something because the stage it is raised.
Yeah.
Yeah. They literally wouldn't let me in. I had to get one of the managers to like let me in.
Oh Jesus
to get my
Christ.
guitar. What are we talking
It's
about
so
here?
stupid.
Literally, it's just like, bro, like you've seen me play, like you know how, and I've been to, I have known some of the people in that venue who work there for about 7 years,
Yeah.
so they know how old I am,
Yeah,
and they know who I am.
This was a while ago, so it's
Yeah.
interesting. I haven't heard about this until now.
It makes literally, I just brush it off, and oh yeah, you have to go in and get your your thing and then leave, and I was like, all right, and I stayed in and I got a pint. It took the
Yeah,
absolute
what the
Michael, like
fuck?
it was so weird, man.
It's just people seem to have like a weird agenda down here. Like, well, I'm sure it's everywhere, but I mean, like,
I think it is literally just because it's more expensive because of proximity to London, and there's just more people. So there's a direct correlation between unhappiness and increase in population. So the more people that are around you, the less happy you are.
interesting.
That's interesting.
Because I think it's less a case of more people. I say more strangers around you. That you're less like happy because you can't like, who are these people?
Yeah, I don't
I never fault the bar for doing it because I understand why they did it. I worked in the bar industry before. I understand why they did it, but
If you're like, dude, I've
there's
literally
a
just
certain
done
point
it.
in time where it's like you have to use like your common sense. Like the rules
Yeah.
can't just be the rules all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
You have to compromise and be human about situations. I think that's the problem. It's like people are too by the book.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's one thing I loved about rock and roll. Again, I've railed about soloing on this podcast for a while, for
For a while,
Yeah.
for a long time.
for the first half of it.
First half of it, but
It's
like,
like,
it's
you're
one thing I love
fucking
about rock and
music
roll is
players.
just the idea of just breaking a rule just because you can. Like, I love that.
It's not breaking rules, more like breaking a physical object.
Just
Just
literally
throw a
just like, I
TV
don't
out a
give a
window.
shit, like it doesn't matter. Like Motley
Fucking rock
Crue,
and roll,
man.
like,
Like
Yeah,
they broke a guy's.
I love it. So
He like
funny.
smashed a bass on a guy's head. Like a bass. For all the musicians who may not be listening to it, a bass is like if you smashed a guy in the head with a bass,
Well,
yeah.
that's- dead.
He's dead.
There's like a
He's-
50-50 chance, right?
It's more, I'd say you'd kill him straight out.
That's what I'm
Most
saying.
I'd say you
guitars,
kill him.
Imagine hitting someone around the face
With a
Les Paul.
guitar, like Les Paul,
A
weighs
Les
like
Paul.
Yeah,
10
Jesus,
pounds.
Yeah,
It's
Jesus.
like
so heavy.
smashing you.
Because I was being really stupid because I was like, I kept calling Andy McMars for ages, and I was like, Nicky Six is the bass player.
Yeah.
It's not Mick Mars. Oh fuck.
Mick Mars.
It's just
Mate.
embarrassing.
I'm as grumpy as him, to be fair.
You are, to be fair.
Yeah.
You are a
But
grumpy
again, you
bastard.
find out why he's
Grumpy
grumpy, and you're like,
bastard.
oh Jesus.
Oh yeah.
He's like,
That's not what I'm
he's
just.
got like,
I'm
you're just an
I'm just
arsehole.
another arsehole.
all right. So we had Shaq's favorite memory from tour. What about you, mate?
Oh man, I'm trying to think where we've even been now.
So Shaq's seeing Sheffield the first time. What are you thinking? Because we've got the North twice. We've done Bath, the uni. We've done. I can ask you Egham if you like. If you want to do that little pub, the little biker pub.
That was great.
But, okay. Or
That was
what about Elephant and Castle where they played at Garden Centre?
I mean, that was quite cool.
That was actually
cool.
sick, to be
The
fair.
sound was
It
sick.
was like
That
a
was cool.
little,
you know what?
development.
So just
We've gone through our troubles, but I want to say it. Shout out to Cam, man. Like that was a good show. You
That
guys.
was
Yeah,
so
it was
so
cool.
so
Banging show you
so
guys.
what it was like this big old garden. No, it wasn't even garden. It was just big greenery, and they put up hoarding around it as an old building and planning. And while it was in the process, the locals had turned it into like a garden centre. So you had like it was like a dumping ground mixed with a garden centre. So you had like a toilet with a plant coming out of it.
Dumping ground.
It was.
It
It
was
really was.
so
You had like
weird,
a toilet, you
man.
had a plant pot, you had a tea, you had a bath, and it was just all of it just had plants in it. And you're like, this is actually
so
sick.
cool.
You know what? I would say one of my favourite shows, and it was. I think it was the start or the end of a tour. It was Papa Turtle, man. Like I just.
Yeah,
Up at the end,
any
yeah.
turtle shows.
Any
just-
turtle's great.
Yeah, they're just people come down. Like there's some like people that really appreciate music go there. It's like it's the BBC introducing. Like,
Yeah.
Turtle are always really cool as well.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
yeah.
I think because we've put the time in there as well.
Yeah.
You know, you get to know people. You get to like John, for example. Obviously, when you
Oh.
get to know him as a person, he's great. He knows us.
Yeah.
Let's do whatever we want. Emily's great rap as well.
Yeah,
and oh damn, what was the other guy? I can't remember the other guy who was there last time.
Go with the beard.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh my god.
He
I
was
feel bad for
great.
him.
He
Is it
was.
Joe?
I think it was. I was talking about Joe or Stevie or something. He was awesome. He was.
Yeah,
I've
he
got
was
him on
great.
Facebook. I've got to find him.
Great. Shout out to Turtle, man.
He was
Shout out to
incredible.
Yeah, Turtle,
He was
best.
incredible.
Do you know one thing? Just because you said the name John. Another close second for me would be Old Blue Last with
Oh
Okay.
yeah, Old Blue Last
the
was
John
great.
Harbson.
Okay.
That-
Yeah. Fair
Yeah,
play.
Old Blue
Fair
Last
play.
was-
That was that.
Fair
Do you know
play.
what? That was the first time, and I'm not gonna lie to you, being entirely honest, where I've always seen I've always seen the vision of what we could do.
Yeah.
But looking at Old Blue Last, that was the first time. I think that was either close to selling out. It was there. I think it was sold out, but
Yeah,
it was
it was right.
packed. And it was the first time I looked around and was like, this is what it should be.
Yeah.
This is what it should be every time. This is like, and it was just amazing going to London down there, and then like,
'Cause where was Old Blue last?
Old Blue Last. What? I can't.
Because
remember.
I was
I don't know
London.
London.
because
London.
I was in Covent Garden. I got the tube up to meet you guys.
Yes.
Oh.
I don't know. A Great Ormond Street.
That's
the
a
hospital.
Yes, we played with some
I
played with
don't
some
know
cancer
London.
kids. Is what we did.
Oh boy.
One
What?
day.
It might have
One
cheered,
day.
might have
One
cheered
day
him up.
I'll do that.
Might
Hell
have
yeah.
cheered him up.
Oh fuck.
You could go as Jack Sparrow.
This is. No, wait.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I was literally that was singing out my head earlier today.
Old Blue Last was sick. Do you know what I really enjoyed about Old Blue Last is there were other bands there.
Yes.
As opposed to when we turn up, just people with musical instruments at other venues.
No, but I mean like other
You
bands
actually-
that weren't performing. Other bands.
Oh,
yeah,
I got
yeah,
you.
yeah.
I got you.
and actual like proper musicians as well. It was so cool to like mingle. It felt like mingling. That felt like a showcase for us. It felt like a showcase. Like so, all these bands played. They're all really good, and then all these other bands, and we just kind of like sat there talking to people and everything like that. It was just so good, man. Like,
well,
so good.
you say that. I think it wasn't our last Turtle one. I think the one before that. I won't say the band's name, but we were last on, and then it was like getting pretty packed. You couldn't really see the door, and then right at the back, remember you nudged me again, like, oh, that band we were talking about, they're over there. And I was like, what the hell? He's like, yeah, they kind of watched us. And it's just funny to see that they were there. And then 2 weeks later, they were headlining for Muse in like Spain. And you're like, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a hell of a feeling as well.
It's crazy times, man.
I'm not gonna say the name of the band. You can definitely work out which band it was.
Hey,
But
we're
still not gonna say it.
We're not saying who it is.
It's
Well,
amazing.
they come down though.
People to
like,
work
that's
out.
cool.
That was awesome. And considering they like blew up literally like the week later, you're like,
Well,
whoa.
I think they'd already sort of taken off, but like
As
that was the
in
point.
international. As in they've gone out of the country.
Yeah, you're right. Because
That was their first outside
mad.
one.
It was pretty mad, but I think that's the heritage of Reading in the music scene. Like I do, it's a weird mix in Reading, but I do
Strange,
feel like
man.
people are quite supportive of each other.
Mm.
I think with any music scene, it's difficult. Like it really is like who's in your circles,
Yes.
regardless, right? Because there'll be some people.
You can't help it. You end up telling people you know. Obviously, that's where you're
Yeah.
gonna go. Yeah.
And there'll be some bands you never talk to, they never talk to you for some reason, and then eventually you might talk to them and you get on really well. Like I don't really think there's any like fuck those guys. Just everyone's chill, but it's just whether or not you socialise or mix.
Well, I think when we had, there was an amp of ours that was at another band's place, and it was an issue like getting back and forth and getting it.
Yeah.
And initially we were like, oh, this guy's a knob, but it was like, it's really annoying. And then you're like, no, it's just a miscommunication because we were communicating by text because everyone was just busy.
Yeah.
And they actually hang out with them, and they are like probably one of the closest bands to us.
There are band. I know you're talking about. There are.
Yeah.
Band, there are. Yeah, they are our band.
It's literally just because it's like
best.
just texting, but like you just hang out with them. It's like this is so much fun. Like it's
it's
so
true.
funny.
It's great hanging out with other musicians and other bands. I think
Yeah.
Do you know what I would say for me? Like, if I've ever been to a gig and not spoken to another band that were there, it is almost you're at like a bit of like maybe shyness, sometimes a bit of nervousness.
Yeah,
from,
for sure.
the
To
thing
begin
is,
with,
right,
yeah.
We've all turned up and been to a gig where we're feeling super like, extroverted, super like I'm gonna go say hi to the other band, and you go up and like, hi, I'm Josh from Handstand Parade, and they're sort of like, oh.
Yeah, they're weird.
And they don't give a fuck. So you're
yeah.
like, oh, okay, well, fuck it then.
Yeah.
And then when you do so many of those, you just sort of build up that attitude of like, well, I'm just not going to bother. And then when you get a really nice band like Patawawa, they were legends.
Oh,
they were
Patawawa,
so
they
cool.
are
They were so cool.
They are the best.
Because you never know
Shout out to Sheffield again.
Yeah, big facts.
when a band's doing like fairly well, you never know. Like it's like, oh man, like they're either going to be super cool, or because it's not even like a band thing; it's a human nature thing. It's like if your friend's got a super good job, either they're going to be really cool about it and like, yeah, man, it's going pretty well, or they're going to be a complete and utter fucking knob.
Yeah.
So you never know. Like
I think it's because it's like public speaking. It's a high pressure environment because if you're not comfortable with being on stage, then you're going to be nervous and be quite on edge. Yeah. But I think where we did really well is that our first ever show was Burn the Dragon, and we were fucking terrible.
Dog shit.
So
Dog
it was like the first two shows we did were appalling,
awful.
And then since then you're like, yeah, I'm not worried about going on stage. It's like I can't do worse than that. So I've never been worried since ever.
You need to do that.
Never,
like,
you have to suck to then be like, it's fine. It's all good. What does it matter?
With any instrument or anything, you basically go through a very, very long period of being fucking terrible.
Yes.
And then you finally get good again. Like you finally get to a point where you're like, people ask you, so you play the guitar?
Yeah.
Kind of.
I would still say kind of. I would always still say, I would still say kind of. I can kind of play guitar.
It was only actually probably until maybe the third year of the band where I started to be like, yeah, I can play the guitar. Oh, you good? And I went, well, that's another question. It sounds good.
No, that's how it should be.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how it really should be.
Humility.
I think that's the thing. Like, if you don't have that little bit of self-doubt to go, do you know what? Maybe I'm not as good as because obviously, like, you come on stage sometimes and people go, mate, you were incredible. You are the best thing I've ever seen. Yeah. And you kind of go, that's made me feel a bit weird because I know I messed up some stuff.
Yeah.
I think if you didn't have that, you kind of like, you just lose all the kind of drive you had to kind of
Yeah, I
push
agree.
yourself.
That tiny bit of fear, that tiny bit of self-doubt keeps you good because it means
Yeah.
you're always going to keep wanting to get better and you always keep doing it and actually improving. And even when us for 10 years now, I mean, I've been a musician of some sort since I was 4. And, you know, I'm going to be like now, I still feel like a fraud. But like 10 years from now, I'm still going to feel like exactly. I can't play anything. I just bought the title. But yeah, 10 years from now, I'm still going to feel the same. But like objectively, you look at the distance from there to here, it's a big difference because you're still just putting the time in.
Even like having lockdown, spending 3 months basically locked away with all my music gear. Same for you.
Yeah.
The difference between being in a rehearsal space 3 months ago versus being in a rehearsal space yesterday. Fucking night and day.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Unbelievable level of musicianship all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I think,
and also it's unique for us as well because unique for the situation we're in where we're transitioning. So when we last rehearsed together, since that point we've made a conscious effort to listen to different stuff, and we're ending this because we don't change. So we've all made a point to change.
Yeah.
I mean, like Andy, Jesus Christ, I didn't know he could play guitar like that.
Andy can.
What the hell?
Andy's incredible at guitar.
Yeah, I had no idea. I knew he could play it, but I didn't know he was that good. I was like, what the fuck?
He's incredible.
He's a great musician.
He's a phenomenal musician.
Yeah,
He's a great guy.
Well, that's what you get for being 50 years old.
500 years old.
He's our Mick Mars.
He is our Mick Mars.
He actually is.
Yeah.
Andy's he's in his 50s.
He's
he doesn't look it though. He looks like 12 years old.
I'll give you the most photogenic member of the band.
Got a good plastic surgeon.
Excellent. Botox. 1 million.
Fucking kill us for saying all this.
He's gonna hurt us.
Do you know? Just dialing back to like one of my favorite memories. It's not even us playing music. It's just because when my most favorite was probably the week we went up north, and it was like the morning of the first day we were in Manchester.
Not bad.
And we're like walking out like to go to the shops or something, and like the room next to us is going like. So we're just like.
Oh man,
it was like 11 in the morning.
That was so good.
But they never turned that music off.
They didn't.
It was the whole the time. It was so much fun. Just like
it was kind of lit.
it was so much fun. Even like if you take the music out of it, it was fun.
I can't wait to tour again.
You know what? I never felt more like a rock star than on that tour, because when we stayed in that place in Manchester, it had feather pillows, and like because I got real bad allergies to shit, as you know. It itched my face the entire night, so I couldn't sleep. So I had to go get a towel, put it over the pillow for the first night. So the first thing I did.
Why did you wait a year and a half to tell me that?
What do you mean?
I didn't know that was a problem. I didn't know you were suffering that night.
Did you not know?
No, you didn't say anything.
Hang on, how do you not know? We went out the next morning to HomeSense.
I thought you'd just been a dick.
Yeah, I thought you were just being precious. You didn't explain why you need another pillow. You were just like, I want my own pillow. we were like,
I would have
prick.
bought a pillow if it was the case. No,
We were like, you're such a prick.
I went to HomeSense and spent like 40 quid on just a really nice like it wasn't even memory foam, but it was like a really nice pillow and like a throw. It wasn't like a blanket. I did that because of that.
To be fair, objectively, that was a really good move, because when we were driving from place to place, you were just in the back like.
Yeah, it was banging. To be fair.
On the way back, when I was that
was a good move.
Sound City, and we just got bamboozled because we played with Fossics, right? Who were legends.
Yeah,
shout
out Fossics.
They're Aussie, so they were like. It literally was like we arrived at sound check at what, like 9?
Yeah.
Like, mate, any of the bars open?
We were like, no, but over there is.
Yeah, and they were like, oh fuck. I want to get us a beer, mate. And they went and got a beer. And then we were like, well, if they're going to do it, we might as well. We played, and then we were like, well, let's watch some bands. Went to a few artist things, got some free drinks. And I'm not going to lie, by the time we were like, right, because we left.
Mate, you were wrecked, mate. You were fucked.
I just remember putting my AirPods in the back of the van, pillow and throw, and just like, Matt, I'm going to try and stay awake for the whole...
You were like Bono, because you had sunglasses on, AirPods in, you had the pillow behind your head, and you were wrapped up like you'd like cocoon yourself in the throw. You were just like
so jokes.
And just zoned out for like 3 hours.
I could have been awake actually.
I have no idea. But you didn't say a word the whole time. You didn't say a word until we got home. And you were like,
it's like a 6-hour drive.
You were like, cheers, Matt.
So jokes.
Thing is, when you drank quite a bit and you fall asleep and wake up in the same day, it's the worst. Like it feels terrible. It's like you've been punched in the face.
What is everyone's worst hangover?
I can tell you that.
Because what I found is it's not necessarily the best night has the worst hangover. Because sometimes the best night you wake up and be like, oh, it's a bit grouchy, but let's go.
Yeah, it's a bit headachy.
Yeah, what's been the worst hangover, and then you got to say what happened the night before as well.
I'm looking at you because you were here.
Yes.
We were both here. It was Christmas Eve.
Oh my god, no, that was actually
You did it on.
appalling.
Wait,
I've
hang on.
never had a worse
Do you
hangover
drink
than
on
that.
It was
Christmas Eve?
actually horrific.
Well, we don't normally, but we did.
It was
So you woke up
horrific.
Christmas Day with the hangover?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was the
yeah.
worst Christmas I've ever
Ooh,
had.
go
It was
on,
bad,
go
it was
on.
bad.
When was
It
this?
was bad, to be fair.
When was this?
It was last year, was it? Was it last year?
Year before.
Year before.
Yeah.
Man, that was awful.
Oh right.
So
I
basically,
got you. Yeah.
my mum was like, I want
Excuse me.
I want to see Shaq at Christmas this year because my mum loves you.
Yeah, doesn't want to see you.
No, she didn't give a fuck about me. And,
This guy.
she was like, yeah, can you invite Shaq over Christmas Eve? Why don't we have some drinks?
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like, yeah, of course. So I said to Shaq, come over Christmas Eve. He was like, yeah, absolutely. So we get here, and Mum's like, oh, Shaq, that's great to see you. Oh, Shaq, my little prince. And
It's pretty accurate.
Classic.
so we're chilling, we sit down, and Mum's like, oh, we've opened a bottle of wine, but what do you want? And I was like, oh, I'll have gin and tonic, please. Shaq had gin and tonic. And she was like, oh, do you want another one? Yeah. So another gin and tonic. And I was like, Shaq, do you fancy a beer? At this point, we're a little bit like,
A little bit Larry.
yeah, a little bit
Get on the
tips.
Okay.
So should fancy a beer? Yeah, I'll have a beer. So I had about maybe 2 or 3 beers each. And then Mum was like, we've got these. At this point, we're all pretty fucked.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, we got this really nice red wine from France.
Yeah.
Which they like
Mhm.
bought back themselves.
Mhm.
Really, really good. And she was like, but we need to decant it for an hour first.
Yeah.
So we did that. Left it on the side. In the meantime, Dad was like, let's have some Baileys. So we had 2 Baileys.
Shit.
Then we had a glass of red wine each, a large glass of red wine. And to top it all off, we've got this, which we never opened. We weren't going to open it. We were so fucked at this point. We were just like, fuck it.
Just fucking open it, man.
We've got a bottle of Glenfiddich whiskey from 1984.
Oh, you didn't touch that one.
Yeah, we drank
man.
half of it.
No, I remember you having
Yeah.
that since I first started hanging out
We
with you,
drank it
mate.
straight as well.
Yeah, it
Because
was.
you
Yeah.
obviously would.
Mate.
Yeah, it was bad.
Was it any good?
bad.
It was
Oh,
amazing. The
Phenomenal.
whiskey was incredible.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I woke up the next day. Did I throw up? Yeah, I definitely threw up.
Hmm.
Ruined.
Yeah.
Man.
I've never mixed that many drinks at once.
Do you know when you wake up, yeah, and you're trying to like, because I normally don't throw up from alcohol, but like, because I try to, in my brain, I'm trying to keep my brain together. But you know when you wake up in the morning and you're like trying to hold your entire life together, you're like,
Yeah.
people are talking to you, and you're like, oh, I don't know, man.
Shaking.
Like,
Shaking like a
Shaking.
shaking dog.
So
Just
were you
like-
here? Did you go home?
yeah. So literally, I went home. So I walked home just absolutely
My God.
blasted, and it was the best walk home I've ever had. Yeah, and I woke up in the morning, Christmas Day. My mum was like, "Right, we're going over to your uncle's XYZ," and I was like, "I can't even.
you go?
Yeah, I went, and I was just sat in a chair, and just like dying. And my family drink. Probably they drink a lot. They drink a lot more than your family. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Christmas Day was like, "Oh, do you want to drink, Shaq?" And I was like,
It's the first Christmas day in a long time I've not had a drink.
"Yeah, literally."
I
I was
could
like,
barely eat the dinner.
"Can do it."
Wow.
My
Oh,
belly was ruined.
That's why I'm really hesitant about like getting. I've never been drunk or had a hangover on Christmas Day because I'm like, I'm not wasting that food, man.
Yeah, 100%,
I'm
man.
not
I'll
wasting
never do
that.
it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah.
I'll have a drink on Christmas Eve maybe.
No,
but
I'll definitely do it again. It was so fun.
I've never gone.
I
like
do.
that.
I do like the fact that it took the 2 of you together to get to be like the joint worst hangover ever.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It was
Separate.
actually awful.
Nah, been
It's
alright.
always gonna be
I've been
that.
alright.
It was awful. Do you know what it was? Yeah, it was that your parents are really good at like when your parents offer stuff. I'm just like, yeah, go on. And then you had like when you had like,
Because
a
they're
glass
really
of wine-
generous. They're always there, like, yeah, I want this beer, want that, want this, want this. And you're like, nah, I insist. They're just
Awful.
really generous people. So they just try and kill you with alcohol, you know?
Awful.
You can have whatever you
Yeah,
like.
awful.
We
awful.
do you know what? We drank like literally everything.
Yeah, we did. We
We
just,
actually drank everything.
Oh,
behind
well.
the camera. You can't see it, but it's behind there. It's a room full of booze.
Did I show you guys the so I was going through, I was clearing up my Gmail account the other day, and I found like a note. I had a notepad on my first Galaxy. Did I show you guys some of the notes I found there? So I sent your quote to you, and I sent you Yuma's. When Yuma's like, what's the difference between an innuendo and a diminuendo? And crescendo and diminuendo. He was like, what's an innuendo then? And you're like, oh, fuck's sake. But there was one which was it was a shopping list for a like a drink. It was a snake bite night.
Oh
And
my
I was-
god.
And the top of the list just said items in house, and it was like five different whiskies, 2 different gins, 3 different vodkas, 12 beers, 13 ciders, mixers, and it's like 6 different mixes, and then and then the bottom was like get a few more, and that was the whole note, and I was like, oh my
Yeah,
God,
man, we could
how-
drink a lot.
how yeah. I remember you're 18. No, 7th.
Yeah.
No,
It was 18.
Well,
no,
what
it's
was the-
17.
well, no.
in the chair.
what was the milestone? That was the 18th, right? 'Cause
No,
your
'cause
your
18th
house
we
was
went to
17th.
town.
No,
Yeah, 18th.
No, okay,
No.
so your house was 16th.
Yeah.
17th was milestone. I drank an entire litre of vodka Nothing.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely
when you're
nothing.
young,
You were
can just
fine.
drink.
Nothing.
No buzz.
Nothing.
I remember
Not
drinking.
even
on
a
the flip
tipple.
side of that, I remember drinking an entire bottle of Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey
Yeah.
and thinking I was going to die.
I don't know what it was, but I didn't even have like a tips. It was like this was a
I
waste
think
of.
they fucked you over.
It was a
I think
waste
they
of-
sold you water.
This was a waste of 25 quid. I was like, nothing.
This Evian vodka's not getting me very
What's
pissed.
going on with this?
Yeah.
What's going on? What is
Yeah, this spring vodka is nothing.
Come on, man.
Voss.
What's
Never
that,
heard of
man?
this.
Yeah.
Cool vodka.
Have you
man.
guys heard of the brand of vodka called Smart? Anyone know?
Smart vodka.
I've got Fiji vodka. Does that help?
Fiji, well, that's Supreme vodka.
Man. To be fair though, I think Christmas Eve was bad, but my worst hangover was when I worked at Slug and Lettuce. Wasn't even
Mate,
a hangover, man.
that's not even. That's just while you're working there.
That's
That's just from being there.
Right.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
That was hilarious.
awful.
Because he sent us a picture and it's just a body on the floor,
Yeah,
and we're
man.
like, "What the hell happened here?" He's
My
there like,
dad-
"Oh, Shaq," and we're like,
Shaq
"Dude,
just like,
My dad slapped the
Laid
shit out of me
out.
as well.
he what?
My dad slapped the shit out of me.
Slapped
Like,
you?
yeah, literally, because I was on the
Fair
floor. He
enough,
was
fair
like trying to
enough.
wake me up. He just went, "Bap!"
oh, all right, fair enough."
Ah!
to be fair, we are not one to talk because New Year 2014, we were doing Ring of Fire, and there was
Yeah.
like 30 of us,
Yeah,
and
that was
Jake
bad.
kept pouring gin into it at the
Yeah,
pint.
he kept doing that.
I know,
man.
but you lost. You drank the whole thing, and then you were like, this was like at 9, and you went.
Passed out
Woke up to
immediately.
ring in the
You-
new year and
you
then
woke up
Woke up
died again.
the
You woke up
second.
at 12. Like we. It
I was like, "Happy New Year, guys!"
We were like 3, 2, Happy New Year. 1.
Dead.
I think I got that because I think
Mate, that was
I
fucking
remember
funny.
slipping playing cards into your hand.
Yeah,
put-
mate, you
we
guys
put-
be like donkey.
We put
Buckaroo, sorry.
we put Watsits in his hair.
That was so crazy.
Oh, there it is. There.
Dead.
Oh, shit.
Deceased, fully deceased.
That's it.
Let me know, I am the king of games.
That is it. That was a good night. That was a very good night. That was good fun.
Do you know what? I can't remember. How did I get home?
Oh, and there's the other one.
You didn't. You fell asleep. Yeah,
Yeah,
there
I-
it is.
no, I did,
You
yeah.
didn't. You fell asleep, mate, and you woke up at like 12 the next day, and you just went. So there, Matt. I just walked home. You just went. Cheers, mate.
There's
You
something
walked.
about
You're like,
walking
bye.
home when you passed out. There's something about walking home because you guys always
Oh my god, forgot that. Oh man,
Excellent,
this is us trying to do Halloween.
excellent.
But the thing is, yeah, you weren't even like, oh man, what happened? What was this? You were just like, morning.
I literally just
See
go.
you
I
later.
just literally just get up and go. Like I have
Yeah.
to. Like I can't just like.
But you didn't look like you were in discomfort. You were just like, how you doing, man? You
Oh,
alright?
man,
All
my
good?
brain was like, "Ee." You know when you hear like static,
So
it was just
funny.
like bare static. It was like, it was like, all right, see you later.
I remember once walking home from yours after pulling an all-nighter with Michael. We'd set up playing COD all night in your living room because we couldn't sleep. And I was pretty pissed. I don't know about Michael.
Mm.
But me and him walked back down here because his bag was here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we walked. Do you remember your old place where you cut down the road and
Mhm.
there's like literally just trees,
Yeah, yeah.
sunlight. It was a beautifully hot day,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
sunny like today.
Yeah.
Light piercing through all these trees, and I just remember not having any sleep, still being a bit pissed, and just hallucinating like fuck. Like I was literally like I felt
Yeah.
like there was stuff in the trees trying to get me.
To
So
be
I had to like run back.
and that's
So-
and that's in the
Fuck
sun
this.
as well. That hill
Oh,
at
man.
night, you feel like you're walking into the abyss of hell. You're like,
Three
I'm never
spooky
coming
fight
back.
me.
It is
Never
it
coming
is-
back.
It
Yeah.
is spooky AF.
It's good. Like if you could survive a minute of walking in total pitch darkness, you get used to it.
Yeah.
But it's just that minute you gotta be like,
Is my mic still working? No, my mic isn't working.
No, I think it is. Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Mine's
I think-
working for me. Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool.
Okay,
So you
you.
might have a bit where you miss me.
Well, it's alright. I've got still the backup here, so it's okay.
Oh,
It'll
cool.
be fine.
He's got the old
What can you picking me up on that as well?
back hoop.
Yeah, a little bit. So I've got the big waveforms, which is me, and then I've got the little ones for you guys here as well.
Chamon.
Yeah, became a peckish there, Josh. So I brought snacks as well, but I didn't want to. I was like, yeah, we can eat it while doing it. Then I was like, that's gonna make so much noise if you eat while you're on a podcast. I was like, we'll do it afterwards.
Yes, so did I.
Yeah,
So
I
did I.
thought it should be good. There was something else I was gonna say, but I can't remember.
It's good times, man. It's good times.
What do you reckon would have been? Only because this is purely just because Andy isn't here. I almost feel like we should have, like, got him really, really drunk at some point while we were up north.
Oh, I did. Me
And
and
but him by himself, and we're just watching him. That would be really
that'd be
funny.
so funny.
That would be hilarious. I
Me and
think.
Andy got fucking plastered in
Was-
West Street Live.
Okay, was that the first night we got to Sheffield?
That was the second time we played.
So we'd gone to Leeds.
Yeah, we've gone to Leeds. We've
Come
based in
back. We
Sheffield.
dumped our shit off, and then we went to the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys went home early 'cause you
remember
were-
me and Josh were just there like,
Yeah.
we're not into this, and you were there like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, man. Me and Andy
I was
went
just so
in.
tired.
Yeah,
I
we
was
got
shattered. I
drunk
was
AF.
shattered. I was
I'm a
shattered.
tired boy. I'm sleepy now.
It
I'm
wa-
permanently
It's
tired.
it's hot, so I'll let you have that one.
Thank you.
It
I'm
was-
wearing a long sleeve shirt.
It was interesting though, because like the sheer number of people that were out on that night,
Yeah.
I was there like something's gonna kick off. But I was like, but I'm basing that on obviously
Ooh.
Reading, because you
Yeah.
get that number of people in Reading, something's gonna
Oh,
happen.
100%.
But they were all there like, oh, you're right, darling, how you doing? And I was like,
It was
Yeah,
banging.
people just sat
I was
with
like-
us and spoke to us.
I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, literally, people actually like spoke to us. You're like chilling with like,
People in the
Canadian
queue were just
exchange
Yeah.
students and, like,
yeah, people in the queue
her
were like screaming
boyfriend.
and yelling at each other, but they was like, they were just saying hi, but they were just excited.
It
Whereas like
takes-
down here, you'd be like, yeah, something's gonna happen.
Yeah,
And I'm
literally.
like, okay.
It takes a while, I think, to adapt. When you go up north, like when we initially arrived in Leeds, every time we walk into Verve, the bartender was like, "Right, lads."
Yeah.
And you're just like,
Hello,
"Why
mate.
the fuck are you talking?" Like, you're not like, "Why the fuck are you talking to me?" But you know, like
It's strange.
in the south, you're like, "Wow, why
Yeah.
are you so nice?"
Literally.
Because here, it's just people just you walk in and it's like they could be doing nothing and they're stood behind a bar like waiting to serve you drinks, and then the minute somebody walks in, it's like, "I'm on my phone now."
Yeah.
So they don't really do that,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
different.
nice.
It's a different thing.
Very
That was
true.
cool.
Very true.
It was
Very
very
true.
cool.
It's one of them things, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Papa Ward. Great man himself. Absolute legend.
The
Absolute legend.
King Awards.
Discreet.
That's what he's doing, man. He's doing some cool stuff.
He's microwaving a coffee. I swear,
Why not?
I
Why
hear
is-
him microwave his coffee about 7,000 times.
You
To be
didn't know
fair-
it's the same coffee, mate.
It has to. It has
It's,
to.
Dad,
You
is
don't
that
know.
the same coffee from this morning?
He's not even getting a coffee. He's
Yeah.
innovating.
You microwaving a coffee? It is the same one. Thank you.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, but it's a lot, so it would have been a big one. So he hasn't finished the whole thing.
He's innovating.
It's not a bad thing,
Innovating.
Josh. He's recycling, you know. he's not he's not wasting it.
Matt's the guy that comes into your house and goes, "He's not doing this. Ads. I only live with the guy."
He's only my
Hey,
biological
I will-
father.
I will defend my fellow name until the end of time. Okay, over
The
you.
namesake.
Alright? Yeah.
Matt's,
So
Matt's
yeah,
for
there you go.
justice.
See, he gets it.
Matt's United.
Yeah. It's like whenever we meet someone called Josh, and you're there like, fuck off, get out of the way. And you're just like, it's like Chaos was Josh. I'm sure there was Josh Goldsby from French Beaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, him as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's been other ones. Josh Reardon, there's another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
He played with Frankie.
Yeah.
Who?
Frankie Dick.
Oh right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they played at Faceball. Remember Josh?
Banging guitarist. Banging guitarist.
Yeah, he's cool. He's real good. Really good.
Absolute
Joshes
banging
have a
guitarist.
special bond.
All Joshes.
Yeah,
I
they're just
don't
kind of
really-
weird
Unless they're
people.
dicks,
They're just kind of
they're
weird
fucking-
people, really. I don't know why anyone call anyone Josh.
Jesus. Man. So how are you guys feeling about the world today?
I watched. Yeah, it's interesting. What do you see? You see the Rashard Brooks thing?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, man. You know, it's
So and another guy got shot. June 10th. Another black guy. He was literally. He was like leaving a drive-through. He was
Sleeping in the car.
asleep. He was working all night and he's fallen asleep at a drive-through, and so there's like they just shoot him and you're like because they thought he was.
They grabbed his
it's
taser.
so ridiculous.
weird
It's
'cause-
a ridiculous premise.
It's weird because like it's I don't think it's as cut and dry as I think it's really bad, but I don't think it's as cut and dry as the George Floyd murder.
Yeah.
But like I think because I'm sorry. Hello there.
Don't be sorry.
Hello there. But the this what was his name?
Rashard Brooks.
Rashard Brooks. Rashard, he basically grabbed the police officer's taser,
Right.
and then the police officer used that he grabbed his taser as like the probable cause to shoot him.
Oh damn.
But then there was this thing where they said that the only reason the police were asked to use the taser before was because the taser is non-lethal.
yeah.
So by the police's own like doctrine,
Mm.
what Rashard had was never ever going to kill a police officer. There was never a probable cause to shoot.
Yeah,
It's a taser.
It's a taser.
fucking
It's
taser.
gonna
It's a
suck,
taser.
but you take it out, you're fine. It's
Exactly.
like
It's a taser,
Oh.
and the rules of engagement for police officers was so weird, man.
it's,
I don't know, man.
Well,
It's
it's
a
like
weird world we live in.
well, it's like their government was like, we're gonna ban chokeholds. But I was hearing these jiu-jitsu guys being like, that's a really bad move because you use if you use it properly, a chokehold is used to control someone. You can get full control of their body by holding onto their neck. And if they're going to struggle, if they're subdued, if someone's on crack or whatever, or if they're just off their face, you can starve oxygen to their head so that they'll pass out, and then they'll wake up handcuffed. Fine. If you can't learn to use that, the only way to control someone is if they're going to go crazy is repeated blows to the head.
True.
Because if I grab you around the neck and I could subdue you in 30 seconds. If I grab you around the arm, that's going to be a fight. I don't know what's in your other hand. You could throw me through something. You could trip me. You could do anything. It's one limb. You've still got the other three. Because I've got your head. You ain't doing shit.
True.
It's just because of that one horrific misapplication of it. They wanted to ban the whole thing. That's so dumb.
That's the thing. It's not one though, because Michael
it's
Brown.
It's one public.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, but it's not. Michael Brown was. I think that was 2017, and that was the same thing as well. Like,
okay, so
really
the one most recent.
Yeah, yeah.
I should caveat.
I don't know, man. For me, in my kind of way of thinking, the police officer should never have ever gotten to that.
Never.
It should never even get to the point where
But that's like his 13th account of that, and this is the only. It just so happened that this person died from it. So this guy has a history of doing it.
That's what I'm saying.
So he killed George Floyd.
Yeah, so he had a history of complaints and specifically that move on different accounts.
So I'm saying, and
this is the only reason he got attention now is because he died.
The thing is, the difference between
if he hadn't died, nothing would have happened.
The thing with I kind of agree. Now I've thought about it a little bit. I kind of agree with you in terms of a chokehold is a good thing, but these police officers aren't using chokeholds like.
It's not a chokehold.
It's not a chokehold.
It's a suffocation.
Yeah, it's a suffocation.
It's a different thing.
Like if
you put
someone rear naked choke or something like that.
Yeah, rear naked choke, full Nelson. You've got complete control.
And you
have
like another police officer was like, right, he's out now. We can like.
Yeah, and you've got and you can use it safely.
100%.
You can use it safely. Like I could do it to you, and you'd wake up in 30 seconds.
100%.
Absolutely fine.
100%.
Nothing bad would happen to you.
If the person's really resisting that much that you're now in physical contact with them and you need to do a thing, pinning them down agast tarmac and your knee is it's just the pressure between the hardest thing in the world. It's just the ground. And it's not just the ground. His head's on a grate. His head's on exactly.
Yeah.
It's just
so it's on a protruding bit of metal.
So there was a situation where you could lessen that tension.
And it's
nothing.
And also how it was done. It wasn't like it's just because what he done. There's two ways to do a choke. There's either at the front, so you take the airway, so that goes into the lungs and stops the heart, because it basically stops you breathing. Or you've got the carotid arteries either side of your neck, which stops blood going to the head. So you can do it. So I've had it done to me, and I can do it to you.
Please don't.
No, I'm just saying I could. But what it does is it can knock you out because it's basically your brain just like turns off quickly. Right. And then it turns back on again because it's like, oh, I've got oxygen back, and I come on again. But he just left it there until the brain turned off. Because there was no oxygen plugging in, there's no blood going into it.
Because even with a rear naked choke, if you've got that, you don't necessarily even have to have it locked in to control a person's body.
No, if you just have not even tight, you just have it clamped.
And just goon someone.
And then, because you
can
clamp it, because that's the best one for it, or even that. Because you can clamp it, and you don't have to put much pressure on, and they know that you've got them. And they're like, okay, I'm not going to do this because otherwise you're going to put it on.
Yeah, because you can basically, with a rear naked choke, you can basically adjust the kind of, you can go, okay, cool, and now I'm squeezing it and now it's locked in.
Yeah, it's like an arm lock. I can lock your arm up and it's not going to hurt until I just put pressure on. But you can't move your arm.
But that was, George Floyd was 100% of pressure, like immediate pressure.
Yeah, immediate. So,
like your full body weight on one knee into the neck is being smashed by a grate.
And if you're going to pin someone to the ground, it's on their front, hands behind their back, your knee in the small of their back.
Exactly.
It's going to be uncomfortable. Yeah, it's never going to kill them. It's never. The neck is so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary.
I do feel like the cops in America have got this shoot to kill attitude.
So on the other side of it, if you're going from the police standpoint, not this man, the police, the recruitment process doesn't exist in America. Yeah. So they'll have It's like here to be a firefighter, for example, you've got to meet a certain physical requirement to get in, and then you've got to maintain that over time. So every week you've got to maintain it. Police, you've got to pass it. That's it.
Yeah. Right.
And that's it. And then you'll maybe get one self-defense class a year, and you're given a gun from day one, even if you're just answering the fucking phone.
So free gun, basically.
Well, what people don't realize is that they are police. They're not military. They're not trained. They're not martial artists. They are people that have been given guns, and they're going to go into high pressure situations every single day.
Yeah.
And there's no psychological evaluation. There's nothing at all. It's just you fill this box. You haven't robbed anything before. You can do 20 push-ups. There you go.
It's just weird, man. Like you see, like
it's so dumb. It's just so dumb.
Weird. Like I don't know, man. Like America have really changed the way that they. I must need to speak carefully here. The way that
they say whatever, we can cut it out and it's fine.
True. The way that they kind of work is deeply strange. Like there's no reason why a police force for a force of people that should be monitoring and protecting a civilian population should have tanks. That should never.
Yes.
Why would you need a tank?
Yeah.
And they're buying these things at the cost of like hundreds of millions of pounds, like millions and millions of pounds goes into it. Like I watched this. I looked at this thing, and it was like the police budget for the city was like 90% of their entire budget. Like, why does a police officer need a tank with full like tear gas and things like that? Like,
you know, with tear gas. Now you mentioned it. You know, in the military, don't use tear gas.
Yeah, it's literally against the Geneva Convention to do that. It's literally a chemical attack.
So the army who use it, conquer nations don't use it. People used to protect you use it.
It's deeply strange that you can get tear gas in your own country. Like,
doesn't
the
make
US
any
were like
sense.
super against Assad using chemical weapons on his own people,
Yeah.
and then they did the exact same thing.
Yeah,
Like,
to
Trump literally flashbanged his own outside the White House.
But
Excellent.
He did an address in the Rose Garden, which is outside. Yeah. In the address, you can hear flashbangs going off while he's clearing protesters.
It's
like, what are we talking about?
This shit is like Olympus Has Fallen kind of
It
bullshit.
literally
It's
is,
fucking crazy.
The world right now is fucked. Like,
Well, the world is
very
run by
strange.
idiots.
But
Yeah.
then
How
again-
is it's like it's run by idiots, and we get angry about it, and then you're like, we kind of deserve them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
us personally, but humanity kind of deserves it.
It's almost like the world is saying like you need to reset now.
Yes.
Otherwise you're gonna fuck it.
Yes.
Like COVID, like that. You know, if anything.
Well, I mean,
it's-
it's fucking horseshit.
I watched
anyway,
this-
for the most part.
I watched this. I watched this thing. This woman said that this scientist, climate scientist, she's saying, like, this is the what did she say? I think it was something like this is the prelims, or this is like the prequel to climate change, because the thing that they're not. A lot of scientists, from what I've been reading, are worried about the sea levels rising and all that kind of stuff. But that's a huge issue. Like Florida going underwater is like huge. Like Cornwall being like, that's a huge issue. Like it means that populations will become even denser. The thing that they're also worried about is what happens when the polar ice caps melt, and then there's bacteria from the prehistoric
Yes.
that we have never
That's a
interacted
very
before,
good point.
and it just runs through our it just runs through
Wasn't
us.
there like what disease was it? There was like it's a disease that has been in humans before, but it was like wasn't there like I don't know, like a bunch of people that live out that sort of way that like something melted and they got like this disease.
Yeah,
Was
happens
it the
all the time.
plague?
It might have been the plague, or it might be like measles or something.
Yeah, or like
Spanish
SARS
flu or whatever.
100%.
Oh, yeah, it might have been Spanish flu.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
because that was
heated
that was
people.
1912. No, 17, something like that.
'Cause
So it was after World War One, and it just millions
Do you know
of
what I'm saying?
people.
Yeah.
There's
millions.
no amount of social distancing. Like COVID is like I think the flu's got like it's like 10%. Like the flu's death rate is like 1%, isn't it? Something like that. It's like quite 1% of people who get the flu. It's like a really stupid number, but the COVID's like 10% or something like it's like 20 times more deadly than the flu. But even that is like kind of manageable. Like it's
Yeah. It's you got to look at the percentages of what you're quoting. So
Yeah.
yes, 1% of people get the flu, die from it. 10% of people get the COVID, die from it. But then you got to be like, the numbers of people who get COVID versus people who get the flu is so small.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
small.
but there's nothing that's
And
going to
there's-
stop.
Yeah, and it's poor shit, because it's like, okay, we've got this which kills, old people and people who are sick. Okay, that's unfortunate. But then you've got, flu kills every age.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who. You got flu. You've got heart attacks. You've got cancer. You've got smoking, alcoholism, car crashes, all that stuff. We don't
Yeah.
give a shit about smoking, alcoholism. Nah, don't worry about
It's
that.
just a corporate interest in it.
Exactly. But
That's
it's just
the thing,
like, but
yeah.
it's this huge thing, and
I
I
think
think it's difficult to put an agenda to it, but
think
it just has happened this way because people are
Yeah.
panicked.
Well, the way I've seen COVID is it's almost like nature telling us to like reset.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause you look at the effect of not having
Sort your
humans
shit
around
out.
all of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, I've been
It's good.
I've been
It's
treating
good.
I've been treating it like having velociraptors around again. Someone's gonna go.
100%,
Yeah.
man. Like it's one of them things, man. But like that woman, I can't remember. I need to find the article, but this woman was basically saying like,
It wasn't Rhonda Patrick, was it?
that's ringing a bell. I can't remember what her name was, but she was basically climate scientist. She basically saying that like
Oh no,
When them-
Rhonda's a nutritionist. Come on.
she was like when these like prehistoric diseases come out, yeah, like because dinosaurs have to have diseases. Like we see cats have diseases now.
Yeah.
Like if any of those diseases like are transmutable to humans, we have no defense for it. We've never seen it before. Like it's going to be like COVID, like it's something that we've never seen before, but we can kind of base a structure on. But this is going to be prehistoric, and we have no antibodies towards it at all.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be no thing of only older people can get it or only younger people can get
Yeah.
it. Like it's just going to be like everyone's going to get
Yeah,
it.
it's
Like,
like wiped out.
Whilst people have been panicking, on the scale of it, this is not a big deal.
I don't know, man. I think
No. If you look at numbers
numbers,
and in comparison to what you're saying, like if this is a warning shot compared to what would happen if that happened.
Yeah.
This is an easy day compared to if we had a prehistoric melting ice cap, whatever was in there, bacteria hits us.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
Fucked.
instead of us is like 0.05% of the population. That's gonna be 70%.
It's just an absolute
easy
running
70%.
through like a big smallpox.
Yeah.
The world getting colder because there are less humans in it.
It just beggars your belief where you get places like Wuhan. You've got obviously places that we've got, places in America as well, where they've got fucking smallpox in like a vial downstairs, and you're like, why do you have that?
Yeah.
Get rid of it. Don't leave it in a vial. Like, 'cause this is a case in point. Because the most likely suggestion is that it wasn't released on purpose. Someone who worked there didn't dispose of something correctly, ended up at the local market, someone ate it, done. That's the most likely thing. It's it's incompetence more likely than anything else. Than
things, man, like
malicious intent. But it's just like someone didn't do their job, and everything's run by humans. Humans are fallible.
100%, man.
Happen.
I don't know, man. I don't know where this world is heading. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of excited to see it, but I'm also quite apprehensive. And I've never been apprehensive for the future of my life.
I've only been apprehensive, like what yourself. I've only been like most apprehensive in my life during this time. But equally, I fucking need it because we wouldn't be doing this right now if I wasn't apprehensive.
It's been. Do you know what?
It's been a kick up the arse that you go and do shit.
It's been exactly that. Like for me, I'll be honest. I almost thought like my whole like goal is to do something I really enjoy as a job. So music, something like that, and then do that for long enough, take it far enough that I can basically have enough money or fund myself to do what I want to do all the time, which essentially was like being in lockdown. It was basically like do a bit of work from home, still get full pay, and then do what I want. But after like 3 months of doing that, like it's fucking boring, and it kind of made me just go.
Yeah, the first 2 weeks you're like, I ain't leaving the house, and now you're like, I'm bored.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, what I thought I wanted for all those years is 100% not what I want. Yeah. So it's just made me actually take a look and go like,
you need to go and get it, man.
Yeah, I need to actually.
It's made me
need to put effort in and do stuff.
And it's made me realize the most important thing is you guys. Because it's like I don't care about any of my possessions if I don't have you guys to hang out with and talk to.
Yeah,
and if we can do it in this format, so I get to hang out with you and we get to share with other people as well.
Yeah.
Like when you're telling us about, because I mean, like Joe's seen the other one we've done, Alex has seen it, some other people have seen the other one me and you did.
Yeah.
And the fact that you listened to it and you're like, it was awesome, man.
Yeah.
That was my entire. That's the whole point of it, is because you can't be part of every conversation.
Yeah.
But now you can.
Yeah.
Now you can. You can, even if you're just listening to it, you're still a part of it. And I think that's awesome, and it's an
That's
amazing
true,
feature. You can do that.
I think my hope for it is that we start to. I was talking to my partner about it, but like communication is truly like a lot of. I've been realizing recently that a lot of humans don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to. Like,
we all work in retail. We know, man.
They just fully don't like retail.
Terrible.
I genuinely think people should be required to do at least a year in retail. Like, I'm not saying that it's awful.
Yes.
I think maybe there's an argument for that. Say that about the military as well. Especially in England as well. Like, I think there'll be an opportunity to do that. But a lot of people don't understand how to like communicate what they want, what their goal is, what am I trying to say in this scenario, and kind of going from there. And I think the great thing about a podcast is you can start to kind of engage in some conversations. And one thing I'm gonna kind of made my thing following this kind of George Floyd thing was making sure that I was available to have conversations on race or any kind of topic that I'm aware of with any of my friends. And I've been having a few conversations, and there's some people who really don't know how to communicate. Some really dear friends of ours that I've had conversation with, like messaged them, and they've just said some shit that.
Yeah, I've seen a few people like that. Yeah, some people I'm just like, now's not the time to have an opinion like that.
Exactly, and it's like I don't want to sit down and say that a person is overtly racist or something like that, because I don't believe that. I just think I was saying to Lucy, my partner, that.
But is that her name?
It is.
I never knew.
It's Jenny.
Has anyone ever seen her before? She exists.
I don't know. I met her on a snowy day, but I can't really be sure.
But I was saying to her, like, we shouldn't be shouting down people for their opinions if they've never been given the tools to learn something. If they've never had, like, it's like my friend, my dear friend Cara, she was saying that she'd never really met a black person until she met me at uni.
Right.
So you got to think she lived for
18 years.
18 to 20 years, never really
crazy.
meeting
That's
black people,
insane.
and never understanding, like, not the struggle, because I hate. Well, it is a struggle, but I hate describing it as that. I never understanding the experience, you know, I never understanding what it is, and sometimes she would never really say anything out of character around me, but like there was I've been around people who have been in the same situation in kind of those kind of Cornish areas that have never met a black person that said some wild shit around me, and I've had to sit down and done what my new thing now is this phrase: what made you think it was cool to say that? What made you think it was cool to say that? What made you think? And I've been saying it to customers at work. I've been saying it to a lot of people because I think it really encapsulates the mood of communication. Like, what made you think? When you kind of evaluate the tools you have in communication, when you evaluate the tools you have as a human being, how I move and walk through life, what tools do I have? I say for me that I do have some confidence. I have the experience of being on stage. I'm black. So I have an understanding of having to be able to code switch, be able to speak to my family. I speak to them very differently to how I would speak now. So I'm able to code switch and tailor my language. It's a skill a lot of black people have that I don't think they utilize, that we understand as a skill, as well as it being. It's like it's a symptom of oppression, but it's also a skill. It's like we've learned this kind of thing. It's like blind people learning their hearing better because they can't see. We can't be taken seriously if we speak how we speak around our family in kind of a work environment. So we learn to speak how the kind of Queen's English, and also speak how we would speak our patois at home, you know? And that's a skill to learn that, because it means you can communicate really effectively in both ways. But a lot of people, like, I can sit down and evaluate, I have those skills, but a lot of people approach the same task with the same, without understanding what tools they have. So there's been a lot of our friends that we've having conversations with where, like, one of our friends, I had a conversation with, and he kind of, I was talking to him about facts, about my experience, things that I see, things that I've dealt with, and then linking them to the kind of statistical knowledge of what I know, and not things that we my anecdotal opinion or my kind of things like that, just my straight my experience combined with facts. And he was kind of trying to explain it away as it being, well, this is my opinion, this is your opinion, let's just leave it at that. And that you
can't put a life experience down as opinion.
That misunderstanding, that kind of arrogance to suggest that my opinion, your opinion, even sides, let's leave it at that. It's like, that is something you were never taught the tools to understand another person's skill.
And equally, if he's equivocating and say let's leave it at that, you're never going to move forward.
That's what I'm saying. So I just literally left the conversation. I put,
you
more power
can't.
to you, bro. But the thing is, I'll begin.
You'll have to tell us afterwards.
I'm beginning my conversation saying, "Hey, bro, I love you, bro. This is all coming out of love, but this is what it is." Like, a few of my friends have been posting things like, it was a thing. It was saying that the UK government had freed the slaves and had paid for the slaves to be free, like that, and we only finished paying that in 2015. You may have seen it.
Yeah, that was mental.
It's a common misconception.
That's mental.
What had happened was that the slave owners were paid for their loss of property, of their products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until 5 years ago.
Josh, the British government paid that.
They've been paying them since the slavery was abolished here.
So your taxes, my taxes, Matt's taxes, we've all worked for a long period of time, went towards that.
Fuck.
So as a product of a family of immigrants, we were paying towards
that. We're paying towards the people who
I know.
Saying,
Amy told me like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, so sorry, say that again.
Yeah.
I was like, what the?
But people are trying to frame it as if, well, we freed the slaves, we paid the slaves to be free, right?
Yeah.
We've been paying it for 20. Why are they angry? Why are the black people angry? We paid for them to be free. We've only just finished paying it.
Have you seen? Have you seen the documentary 13th on Netflix?
No, I've been recommended to watch it though.
Mate,
it's upsetting.
I was furious within the first 5 minutes. So basically, what happened was slavery got abolished in 1776, and then later than that, as the country founded, they got abolished, and then immediately after the slavery was abolished, they put a 13th Amendment in, saying to the Constitution, saying that it is illegal for any human in America to be slaves, brackets, unless as a form of punishment. So then they created the crime of loitering, of trespassing, of jaywalking.
Right.
So it meant that they could immediately imprison people and arrest and imprison people for standing and existing.
So you like cross the street.
Yeah. So
the wrong place,
so
the
for
wrong
example,
time, and then
if
that's it.
If like you two had a war, and then you'd won,
Yeah.
and you were like, all right, cool. Now we're not gonna, and I was free. I was like, great, cool. So then, and then you were like, okay, cool, we've won, but mixed race people are now going to be slaves if they break the law, and the break the law is sitting on a chair that's not yours. Okay, and now immediately I'm in prison. So I'm slaves again, but with a uniform.
It's just
and it's still there.
It's still same shit.
Still there in their constitution.
And then you have to combine that. So that's one thing. That's one thing that's abhorrent.
Yeah.
And then you've also got to combine the fact that a lot of prisons in America are private. So what you could do is basically say, hey, cool, we'll pay X company, X prison company, X amount per prisoner, and we'll give them little jobs to do. Those jobs are cleaning the highway,
making shoes, making Victoria's Secret, making iPhone cases, making
for
whatever.
Free.
Yeah.
For free.
So the prisoners don't get paid. The prisoners get paid.
Prisoners get paid for your labour.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then when you talk to but again, you've kind of got this thing of saying this kind of school of thought, which again I'm on the kind of fence about. Do prisoners deserve minimum wage? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a separate question.
You know what I'm saying? When do we? Because that would kind of alleviate the idea that you're a slave. If you're paid, you by rights you can't really be a slave if you're paid in that kind of respect, especially paid the same way as.
But the danger you got with that though is unless you specify what it's going to be, they could pay you 20 cents.
Exactly.
And it's not going to do anything. Exactly. But what you've got a danger with that as well is that you've got these laws that are like that should happen, and then you've got the prison lobby will then influence this law to be pushed through. But it's not just them; it's they've got phone companies that obviously install phones in the prison so they can pay and call out.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's 20 times the tariff in the prison than it is on a landline.
Right. So
they get obviously an incredible markup, which then the prisoner pays for, and then their people pay for by the commissariat. So it's the commissionary board. Then also you've got the catering companies who give food to supply food to the prisoner. They lobby the same thing as well because they've all got money. There's construction businesses that build the prisons. They lobby the board as well. Right. So there's all of these things. It's a ridiculous amount of money you can make in it.
Big cash.
But it's on human slavery.
Yeah.
It's all based on having people in there.
And but you look at the whole, from start to finish, the whole reason we're here where we are now and talking about this shit, money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You took slaves because you didn't want to pay people to build shit.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's the thing,
you didn't want to fucking toil in the field. Get these people from another country who can't speak the language. They'll do it. Otherwise, people will kill them.
100%. It's one of those things, man. Like it's one of the things I'm not sure that a lot of white people really understand, and I don't mean it in terms of respect, in terms of disrespect, but it's just simply something that, again, going back to the idea of tools, you were never given the tools to learn these things. Yeah. It was just never like, why would you learn these things? It would never have applied to you. Like you don't know economics.
Our education told us a lot about limestone. Don't worry, we got a good education.
You know bare about limestone, but you're never given the tools.
I know about Oxbow Lake, bitch. What are you gonna do?
The thing is, I would 100% agree with that. Like I would even admit myself that I think until I lived with you, I thought I understood how racism manifests itself nowadays, or what still exists in the world, or did it really even still happen? Because it's really easy to become naive
if you're not around it.
Yeah, and especially basically, if you're white, it's really easy to become completely naive to what's going on.
Yes,
but
for sure.
It's just a lack of knowledge.
It's education. Ignorance is not a problem. It's stupidity and hatred and fear. That's the problem. Well, education, you'll be fine. That's all. That's everything everyone needs.
I think for me, and luckily thanks to essentially what you taught me and what you told me over the years, what's really come to frustrate me now as a white person is when somebody, someone who's been racially abused or has been a victim to racism, or is from a culture where there's a lot of racism on those people. It really fucks me off when you hear a white person go, "Yeah, no, I understand."
Yeah, you're like, nah.
Because we've had a lot of there's been a lot of BLM stuff in the media, social media, even for workplaces, and again, no names, nothing like that, but that we had some some calls at work about BLM and everything like that, and you know what the company that we work for is doing to support it.
Right.
And I mean that was great. I mean, it was cool that they were doing stuff like that. It was great to get a bit of understanding, a bit of knowledge here from like the people that work at the company that have experienced these things firsthand. But then what annoyed me was when white people would be like, "Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'm on your side, man. I've been fighting for this." And it's like, can you just fuck off?
Do you know? There's a film I watched on Sunday, which is The Hate You Give, and it's literally. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
It's based about this black girl. She goes to this. It's about obviously her life and everything that happens, and then she goes to this really posh like white school. And it's about how you go and she goes into the school, and you've got all these white people just talking like in the same slang that she used, and you're there like, oh, this is so cringy.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's an excellent film, but it basically just demonstrates what you said, and you're there like, just because you jumped on the bandwagon doesn't mean shit.
I think what it is, right? It's like,
and I've seen plenty of people like that. I've had to just stay off social media because I'm like, I can't look at this.
What it is, right, is that obviously there's lots and lots and lots and lots of oppression for lots of different things. Like whether it's racism, whether it's sexism, whether it's
homophobia or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
but then I think the problem is people that have experienced those things, like they've experienced oppression in some way.
Yeah.
They don't go, well, I've experienced this, but you've experienced this thing. They're different things. They go, well, you've experienced racism, I've experienced homophobia. I get you. No.
It's not.
No.
I don't care. Like people will disagree with me, but it's not the same thing.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that I found a lot with some of my gay friends is it kind of goes both ways. I think because for me, in the kind of my culture, is kind of Caribbean culture, we're quite homophobic in a lot of the things that we say, a lot of the things that we do. And so there's a kind of this thing of like we are able to look at the gay people's the things that they've been going to, getting fired for being gay, kind of really big oppression, getting lynched and raped and everything like that, just for being gay.
Yeah.
And we're able to go, well, they're gay, so the Bible says it shouldn't be thing, and then you kind of think it away. But I also think there's a kind of, and I think that's deeply wrong, and I think it's something that I've been trying to work with my parents and with my family, saying that this isn't. Like when I was younger, I wasn't really allowed to watch Modern Family because there was 2 gay people on it.
Whoa.
Like, on a real level.
Okay.
But like through kind of learning, I'm kind of teaching my dad about things. It's been like, and kind of like how like it doesn't really matter if my friends are gay. Like I'll bring a gay friend around them, like, and it's cool. And now I put them in a situation because of the relationship I have with my parents that I don't. For me, on my side, I speak to them as equals. I speak to them as we are men. Me and my dad, we are men. We speak to each other as men. Me and my mum, we are people. We speak to each other as people. There is a father-son, mother-son relationship as well. And that's, again, really intrinsic. But when it comes to a topic where I actually know something, I'm not going to be like, defer to your age because you're my...
Not anymore. No,
exactly, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing, man. Like I think like there's a lot of things in the gay community where they kind of go like, well, I'm oppressed. And it's like, I get you're oppressed. I get it. Alan Turing
yes,
broke the Turing code
that was
and was he euthanized?
He was chemically castrated.
Yeah,
and then he went mad and died.
She's like, that man is a hero and one of the fathers of modern computing.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have anything we do now, but our government, like, he saved us. And then
we'd be speaking German if it wasn't for him.
I'm saying, like, we did, like, I get that. I fundamentally get that. But it's a very different struggle to flat out slavery. Do you know what I mean? It's very different. It's very, very different.
Yeah.
And it's
the system, the solutions may be the same solutions. The solutions, like the civil rights, if you just extend those civil rights to gay people, that works. They're the same, we're fighting for the same thing, but I don't get to sit down and say I know what it's like to be gay.
Yeah,
And more importantly, it's not just being gay; it's being gay and oppressed for it.
Exactly.
That's the definition, because you could be gay and you could be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you might be fortunate enough to have no discrimination in your life.
Exactly.
Because it's not oppression isn't intrinsic to being gay. It's just the environment you're with.
I think the best thing you can do is use your own experiences to empathise. Like if you've not had the same experience, and to be fair, I would say that really, actually, no one fully understands anyone's situation.
Absolutely not.
So, for example, you could have anxiety, I could have anxiety. But then we can't truly really say, well, I understand because I also have this. It's like, it could be 2 completely different things. It could be
manifests itself in different ways. Yeah,
totally unrelated. So, I think like
it's that empathy thing of kind of reaching out with your feelings and kind of saying that I can imagine what it must be like. please tell me more what it is,
Yeah,
so I have a
exactly.
better understanding. It's that thing of going like, I get it. Or if you're that person that goes, I get it, I understand it, I'm with you, man. But you've never spoken to a black person, you've never spoken to a gay person.
Yeah, no.
You don't get it. And what
100%.
Yeah.
again? Go back to that question. What made you think it was cool, and what made you think that you did get it?
Yeah.
What knowledge
Yeah,
did you?
what's changed?
What changed for you? What
Yeah.
made you think that was something that you understood? Like, who sat down and said to you, okay, this is the thing, and you went, aha, I get it.
Yeah.
Or did you just listen to someone say, oh, yeah, Black Lives Matter, and you go, yeah, I know Black Lives Matter,
Yeah.
I'm in. Like,
Do you know who Daryl Davis is?
yes,
So he's a traveling jazz musician. So he's done with like
worked with the great Herbie Hancock, I think, didn't he?
yeah, Herbie Hancock,
Great.
and whoever did who did Johnny B. Good?
That was
Little Richard.
No, it was Johnny B. Good, as in the classic.
Yeah.
Johnny B. Good.
Yeah, yeah.
It was Chuck Berry.
Yeah,
Chuck
Chuck
Berry,
Berry. So
sorry,
he's
Chuck
worked with
Berry.
Chuck Berry and stuff, people like that. So he's a bass player, I think. But he was playing at a bar in Texas, and this guy came up to us. He was like, "Oh, I didn't know black people could play music." And he went, "Oh, okay. What made you say that?" He's like this massive black dude. He's like, "What made you say that?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm part of the KKK, and I was taught to know all this stuff." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Tell me a bit of that." So he basically sat down with him for like 4 hours and just chatted to him.
Wow.
And the guy was like, "Oh, yeah, cool. Nice to see you, man. Let me know when you're next back here." So we took his number, and when Daryl came back a couple of months later, he was like, "Oh, hey man, I'm in town. Let's hang out again." I was like, "Cool." And from knowing him, you know him for like 5 years, purely from knowing him, having a conversation with him, going around his house, meeting his family. So it's Daryl meeting the white guy's family.
Yeah.
At the end of those 2 years, so 2 years in, the guy came to him and said, "I've got something for you." And Daryl was like, "What?" And it was a KKK outfit. And he said, "I don't need it anymore because I've never been exposed to people like that before." Since that person, he's done that with 200 members of the KKK.
Wow.
Some of the like leaders have gotten because of him, just from knowing him and from being a person. So it's like you were saying, if you've like your friend, if they spent 20 years never met that person, like these guys, they probably spent 40 years never met that person, and they've been indoctrinated to believe something they've never met. When they finally meet it and they can actually do things, you're like, my whole life's a fucking lie. So they're like, get rid of this crap. I don't need it anymore.
But
it's just and it's just from him,
lack of education,
just from him being him communicating. That's it. Nothing else. No grand speeches. No conversion therapy. No shock therapy. Nothing.
It's true that like pretty much, well, no, literally all any opinions, oppression, whatever. It's all learned. Like you think like when you're really young, when you're a kid, like the innocence of a child sort of thing. You don't have any of that. It's all learned. Yeah. And sometimes if you think about it, you can almost pinpoint some of the experiences that you think, well, if I didn't have such good people around me, maybe that person could have influenced me to think this 100%. Or that, because that's their opinion. And people are so happy to put their opinions on you like they're fact.
Yeah.
That actually is probably one of my number one pet peeves about humanity is people that clearly know fuck all about anything, about what they're talking about, but they're talking like they're the absolute authority.
Yeah.
And they won't even...
Which is why I can't stand this COVID bullshit, because all the stuff we're being told, they flip-flop on everything.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like, for me, like, I'm never going to be an expert. Even the things that I do feel like I know about, like, music and guitars and everything like that, like, now, certainly, my whole outlook is, like, I basically, like, changed my mind. Yeah. Because I think I know this, I think I know that, but you know what? The minute you tell me I'm wrong, and you prove that I'm wrong. 100%. Yeah. It's like, mate, I'm sorry, like, half the bands that I like, I don't listen to that shit. And then let's check this song out. No. Well, I'm going to send it to you. Just watch it. Or I'm just going to put it on in the living room, and you're going to have to sit and watch it because I'm watching it. And then I go,
that's pretty good.
This is really good. It's like going to see Friendly Fires, man. I can't be asked.
I was exhausted. And I was the same.
They're like one of my favourite bands now.
They were. I remember they came on. I was like, holy shit!
Fuck. It's a big one. You're like,
so they came. They came on with Love Like Waves. I was like, oh shit!
It's fucking tits, man.
So good.
Yeah, that was
fucking
good.
Tits.
But that is what it is, isn't it? It's like
that was an incredible night. That was good.
Yeah, it's people putting an opinion down as fact, and then actually when you take the time to learn, open your mind, and don't get stuck in your fucking ways.
Feeling it's that kind of thing of like, it's that thing, because when I was talking to our friend, it was like this thing. It's just like, well, this is just my opinion, man. This is just my opinion. Like, and I was like, I understand that. Do you fundamentally understand that 4 times the rate of black people are killed in the US than white people? I think the number's 260 white people have been killed in 2019, 2020. I think have been killed by cops, and the race of the cops doesn't matter. I'll tell you why in a second. But I think it's like 260. By all rights, if everything was equal, if we had solved racism, if everything was normal, if we'd solved all the problems that in our communities and everything like that, the rate of people that should have been killed black people should have been killed should have been 82, because that would have been in relation to the population, right?
Yes.
It's like 240.
Yeah.
How do you explain that?
Yeah.
And there was not. He didn't have anything to say other than, "This is my opinion. Let's just leave it, man. Let's just leave it." And it was one of those things like, you can't leave this situation because I worry for the next generation that comes up under you and has to listen to you saying this stuff.
Yeah.
You're wrong, and you're wrong. I'm telling you that you're wrong, and I'm not telling you in a way that it's like you're a racist. I never sat down and said you're a racist. I was saying that the way you'll speak about stuff, you're really worried about these riots and about the property, but you're not worried about the life, the loss of life.
I don't know anyone who's worried about property.
But then,
No, it's a lie. Sorry, I forget. Ignore that.
But then, what happens when that person goes into an important high up job or role, or becomes a police officer?
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. And those people are really, we're beginning to see it now. Those people are really among us. Some of them are police officers.
Yes.
And
those
never
people
know as well.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
because it's not black and white. It's not you either dress normally or you dress with a KKK outfit. It's not like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like
exactly. It's one of those things, man. It's like one of those things I was looking at with police. I watched this interview with a Baltimore police officer, and I was told our friend this.
Was this Michael Woods?
I think so. Yeah.
He's incredible.
Incredible speaker.
Incredible.
But he was basically telling us about how it works, basically.
Yeah.
And the way the cops work is that they work in a system that it's us and you. So they basically, in America particularly, they basically function as if the civilians are an occupied force. Like when America went into Iraq, they policed the same way. It's an occupied force. I come into your areas and XYZ. What this guy was saying was, all the guys in the police officers, they follow the blue code. You watch out for each other. Yeah. So if the police chief says, and a lot of systems, I think ours kind of does this as well. I'm not too sure. I'm not brushed up as much on our police as well. But in America they have quotas.
Mm-hmm.
So you may have to go and get 10 arrests a day or 10 things a day. Yeah.
And it has to be specific arrests as well. There can't just be, I got 10 speeding fines. It's got to be 2 speeding fines, 3 loiterings, 2 jaywalks.
You've got to get something. You got to get something.
Yeah, you got to go out. Otherwise,
It's
what have you done?
ridiculous.
It is.
What if there's not enough crime? You're just going to
They
create.
No, they do. They do.
They create- so
They
when-
create
so
the
they'll
crime,
find you-
so they've hit the stats.
So I'll show you the trick. Yeah. So guys walking across the street, it doesn't matter what, because I genuinely believe this police issue is not black people are overwhelmingly affected by it, but it's more of a class thing. If you're lower class, this is what happens to you. It's not
It's a good point.
It's like black people make up an inordinate amount of people that should be killed by police, but the white people still get killed a lot as well, and Asians and brown people as well. But you'll never see fucking, name a rich guy. You never see Jeff Bezos get cross the street, get booked for jaywalking, and then get arrested for resisting arrest.
Yeah, it's because he's got money.
Never happened.
Yeah, never happened. Yeah.
But the trick is, I'll show you the trick. You're walking across the street, Josh Ward.
Okay.
You cross the street. You jaywalk.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, jaywalking in the UK is illegal. They can do this here. Yeah.
It's illegal here.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's illegal.
I didn't know. I didn't know that.
Cars all the
100%.
time.
I didn't know that shit.
They just
I thought it was just Europe.
They just don't
America.
enforce it. It's illegal here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're just like,
so police officer, sirens ring. They go, woo, woo, woo. Okay, pull over, and you go, okay, cool. What did you stop for? Jaywalking. Okay, cool. Okay, well, you say, well, I didn't. You've never pulled me over for this before. This person just crossed the street. They're crossing it right now. What's going? And they go, no, well, we want to speak to you. Can you give me a license and registration, please, or whatever? Can you give me your ID? Yeah. And you go, what? Why do I have to do that? Have I committed a crime? What have I done? I'm just walking along here. Like, what's going on? Or maybe you didn't even jaywalk. The cop goes, I saw you do that. Yeah.
So I'm just walking.
You're just walking
on, like, the pavement.
Yeah, I saw you do that. Yeah. And you go, well, I didn't. Can you prove to me that you did? And go, oh, stop getting Larry with me. And you go, well, but I want you to prove what you did. Yeah, I want you to prove to me that I've broken the law. Can you cite me the law? Can you show me the thing?
Yeah.
You're resisting now. I've told you. How am I being detained? Am I being detained? Yes, you are being detained. For what? Yeah. Resisting arrest. That's what they got a lot of people booked on. A lot of people are being killed under the notion that a police officer's order is final, right. And it isn't. There's no law. But in England, if a police officer pulled me, or like I was walking the street, it's like, you're jaywalking, I just tell him to fuck off. Yeah. Because for me, I know my rights and everything like that. I tell them to fuck off, and I know our police are not innocent in this thing. I could easily die as well, but for me, my human rights are more important than.
And it's different world because if you kept a distance from them, what are they gonna do?
You see what I'm saying?
Whereas in America, distance doesn't help because they've got guns.
So what they do is they're not trained in de-escalate the
No.
conversation. And you've got to remember, this cop who's talking to you, he has to get the arrest today.
Yeah.
Maybe this is his last hour on the shift. He has to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's gonna try and get you for jaywalking. You're gonna tell him, well, I didn't jaywalk. Can you prove it? And you say, well, you're talking back to me now. I've given you an order. Can you sit on the curb, please? You go, I don't want to sit on the curb. Now you're resisting. So I'm going to book you for resisting arrest. What was you resisting arrest for, Josh Ward?
Nothing.
So they can't legally arrest you for resisting
Yeah,
arrest.
so
right?
it's just in that instant.
In that instant, you're resisting arrest, but that doesn't that's not a baseline thing. That's a trick.
Yeah.
And what happens is you're resisting arrest, and then it becomes to do the chokehold thing. And there's a thing which they have, which is lawful, which is a doctrine, which is Michael Wood's guy was saying, lawful but awful.
Mm-hmm.
If you're dead, Josh, you can't sue. Think about that.
Yeah.
You can't sit down and go, he wrongfully arrested me, because you're dead.
Yeah.
And if there's no video,
Yeah. True.
This is the
police officer writes resisting arrest, got him booked for jaywalking, boom, accidental murder.
Yeah.
I don't even get punished for it.
so,
Oh,
thi-
yeah.
so this is
Fuck.
spoiler alert. This is literally what happens in The Heat You Give. So there's a scene. So the opening scene is a black dad speaking to his 3 kids, and he's like, "At some point in your life, a policeman's you're gonna watch me get pulled over, or a policeman's gonna pull you over, and what I want you guys to do is put your hands on the dash in front of you. It's like, do it now." So they all do it on the table. Like, you've got your hands on the table. You've got to stay there, don't move, and just do whatever they tell you, because it's gonna be shit. It's gonna suck, but you'll be fine. Kind of thing. If you just follow them and do what they say. Then later on in the film, it happens. His daughter is a passenger. She does what she's just like, okay, I don't remember what dad told me. Put it on the table. The guy in the car next to her is like, nah, I didn't do anything. He starts arguing. He starts arguing, doing all this shit, and he ends up getting shot because, as Shaq said, he's resisting arrest. Because it sucks, but if he just put his hands on the wheel and had done what he was told and hadn't questioned
But
anything.
this is the thing. The problem with that, not with that kind of thinking.
But then again, if you're just doing what you're told, you don't know how far they're going to take it.
Exactly.
You've no idea how far you're going to take it. So
Yeah, the problem with that as well is that that's a kind of a common thing that is said as well. And I get the thinking, because if certain people XYZ, but what if you are just walking like on the road? What if you're just walking around and they try and get you? Because they do that. Police officers are allowed to lie to you. That is legally allowed to happen. They're allowed to lie to you.
And they're just people. They're not specially qualified for it. They're just people.
They want to get someone. They have a job to do, and if they're on a quota, they have to hit that quota. Same way as if you worked in retail, and you have to get a certain amount of sales, you may resort to selling, a laptop to a 65-year-old lady who you know is never going to lead it, but you needed that sale because you need to feed your family, right? Yeah. So it's a kind of a human kind of understanding of both. But that kind of mentality of just do what they say, I could never agree with that. Because for me, if I'm walking on the street, and a police officer tells me I saw you jaywalk, and I know I didn't jaywalk, I crossed at the crossing, there's nothing he can say to me that makes whatever interaction we're having right. There's nothing he can say. If I sit on the curb, and he gives me a ticket for jaywalking, and I just comply with what he says, that's money that I could have bought food for my partner with. I could have taken my partner out. I could have bought some new music gear to enhance my life. Yeah. And those fines are not cheap. They're $200. They are not cheap. Yeah. If I am able to assert my legal rights, and the cop knows, the police officer knows he doesn't have a legal leg to stand on, what we need to ask the question is, why does he resort to violence when he's proved wrong? And the problem is, as you just said, Matt, they are people. A lot of people, especially the kind of police officer I'm talking about, is that kind of person. We all know them, were maybe bullied in school. After school, they did loads and loads of workout. They worked out. They've got a really big self-image of them, and now they go, I'm going to be a police officer. We know someone like this. I'm going to be a police officer, and I'm going to put it on you.
Good point.
Or their mentality is, I'm going to catch the criminals. When do you define a criminal?
Like a justice complex.
Yeah, they're gonna make everyone a criminal.
I was wronged. So I'm going to now exact my version of justice on anyone. You're jaywalking. By all rights, you are breaking the law. But if you're jaywalking, say you do jaywalk. The logical respect should be: is it a busy crossing? Did crossing there have any impact on anyone's life? Was it a horrible thing to do? Did it endanger anyone? Was it dangerously criminal? And the answer, of course, of jaywalking is always no. But if you're a person who sees justice as black and white, and you were a person that was picked on, bullied, whatever, you enact justice in an Old Testament God kind of way. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's nothing you can say.
Vindictive old fucker.
Exactly. There's nothing you can say at this point in time. You comply with them, and they're going to write you that ticket anyway. And they go, chick, check. I did my job today.
Yep.
XYZ.
Yep.
But what really happened was he just applied the law in a way that is archaic, didn't make any sense, and now you've suffered for it economically. And even in a situation, I'll cite you a guy, Philando Castile, registered gun holder. I think this was Texas. You can open carry in Texas. Yeah. You can open carry, no problem. He's in his car with his girlfriend and their child. Yeah. Cop comes over and says, I just wanted to check your stuff. Can't remember what it was for. I think it was for a traffic stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Philando says, XYZ, does exactly what he said, but his hands on the head.
Mm-hmm.
Is up for the cop asks him, do you have anything in the
Club box.
This is another trick that they do. It's one thing that my dad warned me about and everything like that, is you do one thing at a time. Yeah. And you make it aware to them, you've asked me to do this thing, I'm not doing XYZ until you've given me the permission. So he says, if you've got anything in the car that can hurt me, that's a common thing they say. And Philando says, yeah, I've got a registered gun. It's in my glove compartment. Registered gun. I'm a legal carrier. Yeah. It's America, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why. I think it's like there's more guns than people in America.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there literally is more guns.
Yeah,
than people
there
in
is.
America.
Yeah.
Yep. The cop then says, can I get your license and registration? So Philando reaches into his back pocket to get his thing. He says, don't reach for anything. How can I reach for something? How can I reach for a gun if you've already told me to reach for my license and registration?
Or how can I get my registration if I'm not allowed to move?
If I'm not allowed to move.
Yeah.
So no matter what would have happened, and if you watch the video, the scariest thing about the video, is how shaky Philando, the cop officer's hand is. It's like this.
Yeah, he's shitting himself.
There's a child in the car.
Yeah.
It's like this. Shitting himself. Because what he's seen is a black guy with dreads, and he's gone, I may not have had experience of black people, and I know what the police kind of union and the police kind of brethren kind of their kind of reactions are to them as well. And this guy's told me he's got a gun, so now I'm on high alert already. Yeah, I've kind of ignored my own order that I've asked him to reach in for something. So he's reaching for something. He says, "Don't reach for it, don't reach for it," and he shoots. I think it's 5 times he shoots into the car. And you need to remember, this is as close as we are. See, Flanders in the driver's seat. It's reversed in America. So he's in the driver's seat. Officer approaches from the driver's angle, and he just unloads a clip into him. Unloads it, and his daughter's in the back. And his girlfriend's filming it from the car.
Oh yes, I do remember this.
So you're seeing the gun, lets off, and he's still alive and he's slumped over, bleeding. He's dying.
Yeah,
he's dying.
Yeah.
The problem, what they do is, they then wait. They then wait to restrain you. So what happens is they may have shot you, everything like that. What they will do is they then take you out the car. You've been shot. Yeah, and they handcuff you.
Times.
They handcuff you.
Yeah.
And they kind of wait. What you find with the George Floyd thing is they kind of wait a little bit, because if the suspect is up, again it goes back to the thing, lawful but awful. If the suspect is alive, he can testify.
Yeah.
Dead.
If he's dead, he can't.
Yeah.
So
you know what I'm saying?
So the only way we found out the truth about that is because she was filming.
She was filming. We never would have found it.
They must have, because that exact scene happens in Hit You Give, so they must have based parts of that film 100%. From that interaction. Okay.
It shaking.
Yeah.
Shaking.
Yeah,
have you ever been like properly afraid? Like when you're shaking.
Have you? Yeah. So
if that. Like,
if you've ever been in an environment where it hasn't happened, but you think something's going to happen, and you're there just like.
Just like oh shit.
Yeah. Because it's a different thing, because if something's happened and you've turned on instantly, you get the post adrenaline dump, but the beforehand is way worse.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Because it's the build up to it, and obviously the cop's going to go up to him, assuming this could be like, I could die now.
I could die exactly every time. But and then again, the other trick is it's kind of if you combine all these tricks together, this is what it is. So it goes back to that quota thing. So you've got to get the quota. Now, if I roll up to maybe I roll up to some more affluent white area, what is the likelihood that if I pull a white teen over in his car for smoking some weed, that he's the judge's son?
Pretty high,
right? What's the likelihood that in the ghetto, in like the hood, that's the judge's son?
Yeah.
Very small. So what happens is that you find the police officers are going into the areas of kind of black and brown people, going into the areas. They're doing the arrests there when crime is happening in the white areas. and no one's speaking to it. No one's going there,
Yeah.
and they don't understand why. That's why we're being disproportionately killed by police, is because we are. We're seen, but we're in contact with the police more. And you've got to remember, the old style of policing was way better because it was people from your community. It was, Uncle John's a police officer, and he marches the same area that he's always lived in his whole life.
Yeah.
And so that he's able to determine that this guy jaywalking is not a threat because I know him. That's Del Boy or whatever his name is, for instance. You know what I'm saying? But I know him. This is what he does. He's no harm to
That'd be
anyone.
quality if Del Boy was like, all right, mate.
Do you know what I'm saying? I'll keep an eye on him, but he's not a problem.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
they're going into it and they go, I need to get arrested.
Yeah.
That guy's jaywalking.
Anyone who looks remote.
That guy's smoking weed.
Yeah, even if they never look shifty.
Doesn't even
yeah.
remote, and like.
It's like a jackpot for their quota.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah,
like,
for
oh
sure.
man, I can definitely find some crime here. But you definitely know. Most of my friends who are white smoke weed. A lot of them smoke weed.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I know for a fact, that because of the areas that they live in, the areas where I used to live, it was far more likely that there's going to be police officers in my area than up in Caversham Heights.
Mm.
Yeah, 100%.
Far
I
more.
never see police down here.
Yeah, exactly,
Ever.
man. Exactly. But like, and it's just one of those things, man. It's. I think it's fixable. I think it's very, very fixable, and I haven't lost hope for it because it's just we need to change the topic of kind of making everyone kind of because it's not even for me. It's not really about race. It's about a lot of it's about class. A lot of it's about getting the working people to feel respected and kind of valued in their lives. That's the biggest thing for me, and helping. The kind of Black Lives Matter, the black kind of fight and the struggle of black and brown people, disabilities, gay people, they're all one and the same. Because fundamentally a rich person in a wheelchair is going to be having a very, very much better life than a poor person in a wheelchair. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's very fixable to kind of get these issues kind of ironed out but we need to look at it with an open heart and an open mind. And there's some people like our friend who I don't think he's ready to hear that message yet, but it's about focusing on the justice rather than focusing on shit like this statues thing that's going on. As a black man, Edward Colson, whatever his name is, they pulled him down in Bristol. I think that's jokes. That's funny as fuck.
I thought it was very entertaining.
This thing is funny.
It was
Funny as hell.
very entertaining.
Yeah. What would love, and Churchill as well. Yeah. I don't give a shit about any statues. Like, I don't give a shit about statues. Yeah. Why are we in England looking at to tear down statues rather than to sit down and go, maybe the way we police people is incorrect. Maybe our drug laws are incorrect.
It's because it's easy.
Easy
and it's satisfying. I can pull down a statue. Me and you could do it later on.
I can
if
get
you
a
want.
rope, put a finger around Churchill's thing and pull it down.
Mate, we can pull down the line. I reckon it won't be hard.
Exactly. The problem is, how does that help
too
my
soon,
family?
wasn't it? Yeah, sorry.
How does it help my brother? Like, how does that help? How does that help? My gay friends. How does it help them? It doesn't.
There's a very good video I've got to show you guys later. But the essence of it is being like, you've got to make sure you're aware of all of these statues,
100%.
Because it's like people can be like, oh, Churchill statues up somewhere else. You've got other people's statues up somewhere else. Some kind of crap. But it's like no one is a saint.
100%. It's just a historical context.
Yeah,
man.
it's historical context. And the guy that was pulled out, I think that was right because the statue was put up to commemorate him being a slave owner and the main conduit through which the slaves came through in England. But other people got like other things, like Churchill for whatever his flaws are.
Great man.
His statue was put up for him because of World War II. Yeah. Irrelevant
100%.
what happened before that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's
It's
the
because of
context.
that, exactly.
So
you've got to learn from these things. Because we could take like the pyramids because that was built on the backs of slaves. We can get rid of that. No, it's the lesson. They're not put up to commemorate slavery. It's put up for whatever reason we don't know. But they were built by slaves. But that's not the point.
You can't rewrite history.
Exactly.
No, we should. And it's like when people want to take films that have already existed and they want to change them, or they want to say, oh, you can't use that word or anything. And you're like, no, because that is a comment of the time it was made of, and it's a comment on the era that film was representing. So you can't be like, oh, I don't like it because it's offensive. You've got to look at it as it's history. This is teaching you a lesson. If you get rid of that, you might. If you like Birth of a Nation, if you get rid of that, if you don't want to watch that,
that's funny as fuck.
then it's horrific. But it's like where the Ku Klux Klan uniform and cross came from.
Fuck.
Yeah, 1903 or whatever. But stuff like that. If you want to get rid of that, you need to never ever read a history book again in your life.
Yeah.
Because they are lessons. They are appalling, but that is the lesson.
You got to think about, like, you have to be consistent. Like, you have to be consistent. You can't objectively say,
I don't want this. This shouldn't exist. I don't want to know about it because those mistakes will happen again.
Exactly. What are we talking? Like, we need to make like, for all the people that I know that maybe listen to this. Yeah, I am a black man. Yeah, I'm just letting you know. You probably see the video. Yeah, tearing down statues is far less ineffective than if you kept those statues up and just put the Wikipedia up. If you look at the Wikipedia Churchill, it goes through his controversies and everything like that. If you had this kind of balance of sit there going, Winston Churchill was a key instrument in as well as Eisenhower, Stalin, in kind of the prevention of the takeover of Nazi Germany. Yeah, that's cool. He also did lead to the famine of 3 million Indians. Yeah, he did do that. Yeah, just put it on the plaque. Yeah. Now we know his full context, and his family know the context. His family aren't going to sit there, and parts of his family are still in our parliament right now, and they're not going to sit down and say to you, "Oh, this never happened." Yeah, do you know what I'm saying?
And also they're going to say it was this guy. I'm not that guy.
Exactly.
I didn't do it, and I can't go back and change it. I didn't do that, but I can change. Yeah, but I can change. My ancestors are from living on a fucking island in Sri Lanka. Like, my ancestors were parts of the Dutch and English warlords that went over to India, drew fucking lines in the sand where there shouldn't have been lines, and created the animosity that still exists there to this day. Which is why they left Sri Lanka, certainly afterwards, because there was a civil fucking war going on. Because of the English.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Get into my ancestry.
Yeah,
but this is the thing, though. This is the thing.
Josh is a pure Viking. He doesn't look like one, but he's a pure Viking.
But this is the thing. Like, I think it's that historical context that you need to think about in terms of, like, making sure that you're being consistent. You're being really consistent with applying fairness equally. Like, when I die, I would rather have, instead of my gravestone, you know, like, they took down Jimmy Savile's gravestone. Yeah. I think his epitaph was, "It was good while it lasted."
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh
my god.
I think that was his. I think it was good while it lasted.
Holy shit.
Or something like that. I think it was something like that.
Wow.
And that, for me, I was like, you know what? Like, why? It'll be interesting to take it down. Yeah, you fucking strange guy. But I think taking it down I understand why people want to take down these statues and take down these things that commemorate these awful stuff. But at the same time, if you were able to put it in historical context, and the average person was able to walk by, read the plaque, and go, "Oh my god, I didn't know Churchill killed 3 million people. I didn't know Jimmy Savile was a paedophile." XYZ. Yeah. We could put him in his whole context, because Jimmy Savile, he did have sex with a lot of kids. Like, he did rape a lot of kids. Like, that did happen. But he also did build hella hospitals that are still here today. Do you know what I'm saying?
But then he used those hospitals to go in and touch kids.
So it's an endless cycle.
It's a big swings and roundabouts. Like Churchill was instrumental in helping us get
So just so we're clear, we're not saying that it was good what happened in the long run. We're just saying that people are bad and good.
Bad. No human is objectively good.
Sorry, you know? Jimmy Savile was bad, and he was indirectly good from his actions.
Exactly. Like you got to think about it at the time. Like, I was reading this thing, like Mahatma Gandhi, widely regarded as one of the most peaceful people and kind of most tolerant.
He hated black people.
He did say a lot of stuff about. He used the phrase "kafir," which is a South African phrase, which is basically their version of the N-word. You know, he used that quite liberally. Do you know what I'm saying? But that was just the time. You know, that was just the time. And I think having these statues up of these people and then just put them in a historical context is far more powerful than taking them down and now no one knows about them. Yeah. Who's really going to go to a museum of statues? Who's really actually going to do that? We would actually spend their hard-earned money to go and do that. Mate, I'd rather see Edward Colston and be like, okay, cool, I know he's a slave trader now.
Yeah, and I'll go to Madame Tussauds Terracotta Warriors. That's what we're talking about, man.
Saying, man. Like,
that's pretty dope, actually.
It's hella dope.
I've got to be on a call in a bit, so we've got to wrap it up there, boys. But that's 2 hours. That is.
Hot damn.
We smashed it out of the park right there, boys.
That's right.
Hot damn.
Right, it was awesome. Thank you very much, lads. Obviously, we will continue this onwards, off of the air. Sorry, everyone, that you're enjoying it. But yeah, thank you very much for listening.
Shout out Zach Stewart. He's the best.
For fuck's sake.